Good evening. We are in the middle of the 9 days now. No meat, no wine, no music. Ashkenazim, their rules are more strict in the 9 days. They take shower maybe with cold water only, or don't take shower at all. But it's very not recommended for the Ashkenazim not to take showers at all. Because if they smell, it makes chilul Hashem. People see a religious Jew, they don't know why he's not taking a shower. And they may come to the conclusion that the Jews are people that are not clean. And results of that, it's called chilul Hashem, which is a very big sin from the Torah. You don't want to keep a custom, and as results of keeping a custom creates a very big sin of the Torah. That's not a clever thing. So, you take a shower with cold water, you suffer a little bit, that's very good for the Churban. Most of the strict rules comes next week, from Motzei Shabbat. When Saturday finished, at night, the Sfaradim, no haircut, no shaving, no laundry, no wearing clothes that after laundry, only clothes that you already wore before. And of course, no meat, no wine, basically nothing. The most important thing in the day is we come to the fast of Tisha B'Av, which reminds me that of course next Tuesday there's no lecture. We will see you in 2 weeks. Next Tuesday it's Tisha B'Av. And Tisha B'Av, it's very similar to Yom Kippur. It's a very long fast, even longer than Yom Kippur maybe. It's a very long fast. And all the laws that apply in Yom Kippur almost apply in Tisha B'Av. It starts from the night, not from the morning. It's a 25 hours fast. You understand? Even pregnant women, it's more strict than the other rabbinical fasts. But the most important thing when it comes to days of fast is it's not just to fast. It's to do tshuva, to realize that every day that the temple is not rebuilt, it's our direct fault. Do you understand what it means? The Gemara say, you can come and blame our fathers from 2,000 years ago why the temple is destroyed. But at the same time, the Torah said that every generation the temple is not rebuilt, it's the direct fault of the people that lived in that generation. If everyone was righteous, what reason God has not to rebuild his temple? He's very delighted to have a temple. It's written in the Torah, "V'asu li mishkan v'shachanti betocham." Make me a house that I can live among you, meaning in each one and one of you. Not inside a place that is built from stone and wood. That's not the main thing here. Plus, the miracles that used to take place in the temple on a daily basis made a lot of people understand about the supervision of God in the world. People saw actually clear miracles in front of their eyes on a daily basis. People from all over the world, kings, they used to come. It's written in Tehillim. They used to come. They couldn't come inside Bet HaMikdash, but they came up to a certain, there was a wood fence, that there's a sign over there. Until here, non-Jews can come. From here on, only Jews. That's, by the way, what got the Greeks very angry. When they were the empire that dominated the world, and the Jews, which didn't have the power and money, they told them, hey, excuse me, Antiochus, you can only come to here. From here on, you cannot go. So why? So because you're not one of the nation of Israel. This is for the chosen people only. They used to go crazy. Imagine today if you have Bet HaMikdash and Obama is coming, or Trump with his Jewish daughter, and you say, Donald, stay right here. You go, you stay here. Your son-in-law can go in, you stay. What do you mean? Imagine what's going to be. Tough. Maybe that's one of the reasons we don't have the temple. I was thinking to myself, if we had a temple today, do you think we could sacrifice anything there? Or the people of the animal rights would demonstrate in millions all these Hollywood fakers, movie stars, rock and roll singers, they would all come screaming, animal rights. It's not a Torah court. It's a court of secular people. And the laws are based on the British and the Turks that were in Israel before. So they made their own rules, and the Israelis took their rules, and they made some changes, and they kept their constitution. It's rules that were made by British people or Turkish Muslim, you know, in the beginning of the previous century. And on top of it, the Israelis add all the necessary laws that apply to Israel. So now I want to ask you a question. One of the rules in the Israeli court is that you're not allowed to speak Lashon Hara about another person. But the way they describe Lashon Hara is different than the Torah. In the Israeli court, if Reuven spread Lashon Hara in the internet against another Jew called Shimon, he made him a very bad reputation all over. Shimon sued him in a court in Tel Aviv. If Shimon that sued Reuven, if Reuven proved that everything he said about Shimon is true, he shows recording, documents, emails. If he proves that Shimon actually did all these bad things, he get away with any punishment, and Shimon has to pay him for his lawyers and court expenses. Meaning the fact that Reuven murdered Shimon in the internet and spread all the negative things about his life, or wrote a book against him, and millions of people read about him, and nobody wants to do business with him, and nobody wants to marry his children until he killed himself and committed suicide. Reuven is not guilty. Not only that, Shimon still have to pay him for the court expenses. Why? Laws of Sodom. That's the law of Israel. Law of Sodom. According to the Torah, even to say the truth about your friend or about stranger, you're not allowed to say the truth. You're not allowed to say that he's smelly. You're not allowed to say that he's stingy. You're not allowed to say that he's unable to have kids. You're not allowed to say that he has all kinds of mental issues. You're not allowed to say it. Who gave you permission to publish it in a newspaper or in the internet? Or when he was a kid, he got caught doing something, or all kinds of things like this. It's none of anyone's business. If somebody come and ask you, I want to marry his daughter, that's a different story. Now you have to tell him the truth, because now he's about to get into a family with these people. You have to warn them. But to write in the internet, to murder him in the public because he has some negative things about him, it's against the Torah. Even if it's the truth, there is no permission to publish the truth against people. No permission. Unless it's a warning. I'll give you an example. To write about someone in the internet, he used to be my roommate in yeshiva, this guy doesn't take showers. That's a murder. And you're going to get punished like a murderer. Now everyone looks at him strange on the street, nobody wants to be next to him, people turn their back to him. You're actually ruining his life. You're going to have to pay for it. But if you write, be careful from this guy is a pedophile, and you know 1,000,000% that that's the case, that's not a sin. That's mitzvah, not a sin. You have to warn the people from him. To keep your children away from this guy. Be careful not to invite him to your house. He doesn't control his action. It's very dangerous. It's like a murderer. If you know someone is a murderer, you want your brother to invite him for Shabbat? Right away, you would call him, cancel, don't let him in. Be careful. So what is this, a sin or a mitzvah to warn another person from him? It's mitzvah. You have to warn people. If you know he's a professional crook, con artist, that scam people on a daily basis, then you're allowed to publish him to the people. If you know he's a fake rabbi that gives speeches and everything he's saying in his speeches is the opposite of the Torah, you must, it's not a privilege, maybe yes, maybe not, you must publish him to the world. We have a case like this now going on. There's a rabbi, he called himself a rabbi. He decided that he's a rabbi. And he also decided that he has the right to speak. I don't know what was on his mind when he decided to be a speaker. His name is Dror Kasuto. Every one of his speeches, it's mamash a destruction to Judaism. Destruction to Judaism. I give you 2 examples of what he speaks in his lecture and you get the point. Let's not waste too much time on this guy. Recently he said in his speech, if your wife tells you to take her on Shabbat to the beach, she feels like going to the beach on Shabbat, you must start your car on Shabbat and drive her to the beach and go with her to the beach, because peace in a family is more important than anything. God is willing to erase his name for peace in a family. So to make your wife happy, you have to be Mechalel Shabbat, which is a worse sin than a murder. I wish someone from the audience would be a little bit clever to say to him, excuse me, Mr. Genius, if the wife would say, you want to be married to me in one condition, otherwise I divorce you. Okay, honey, what do you want me to do for you? I want you to kill my boss. He did not give me a raise. So here is the gun. Go and shoot his head, blow it up. After you do it, you prove to me you love me, I'll stay with you. Otherwise, I'm on a strike, I don't talk to you. By the way, to break Shabbat is a bigger sin than to kill the boss. To kill the boss, it's a murder, it's a death penalty. To start the car on Shabbat, even though I know it sounds strange to most of you, according to the rules of God, is a bigger sin than to kill someone. To kill, it's a horrible sin. It's a death penalty. Murderers in the Torah do not sit in jail and watch television and eat peanut butter with jelly and get a degree. That's only according to the rules of Obama. According to the rules of God, you killed someone, you're getting killed. But if you break Shabbat, you're also getting killed. But your soul also gets cut from eternity. And the execution is much, much, much more severe than the execution of the murderer, and much more humiliating. Meaning, you see from here that when a person breaks Shabbat, only Jews I'm talking about. Gentiles, they don't have to keep Shabbat. Jews, if they break Shabbat, it's a very big sin. So according to Mr. Casuto, the genius, if your wife is now in an angry mood and she want to go with a bikini in front of Tony and Vinny and to become Machtiyat Arabim, which according to the Gemara, it's Yehareg velo ya'avor. A woman should die before she expose herself in public like this. And there were thousands of our mothers and grandmothers that actually committed suicide, that nobody will ever touch them or do other things to them. And the Gemara is full of few examples like this, that teenager jumped into the water on the way to Rome because they wanted to sell them for prostitution. So they jumped into the water and committed suicide, that no Romans over there in Italy will do what they want to do with them. So they all jumped into the water, 400 boys and girls, Jewish prisoners, to die, that nobody put their finger on their body. In the Holocaust, the girls of Bet Yaakov, 93 girls, the teacher, the Mora, she gave them pills. When the Nazis were on the way to do bad things to them, they all committed suicide. Why? Better to die than to let someone touch me or look at me not modest. So according to this genius, the wife is in a mood to be naked in public and to see other naked people. Join her, join the party. First, break the covenant with God, violating Shabbat. And second, go and destroy yourself for eternity by looking at 1,000 naked people on a beach. And then start the car again, which is another violation worse than murder, and drive back home. Now, in case you didn't get me, let me clarify it to you. Breaking Shabbat, when you drive in a car from here to the beach, let's say half an hour or an hour, it's now one violation. When you start the car, it's one violation. You press the gas again, second. You blink, third. You press the brakes, 4. You blink again, 5. You press the gas, 6. You press the brake, 7. It can be in one ride, million violations of Shabbat from here to the beach. Millions on the way there and millions on the way back. To make your princess happy, she can sit on the beach naked and eat ice cream. According to the genius, the new Rambam Kasuto, it's mitzvah. That's one thing that he said.
But that's not fair.
Wait.
You're not explaining his logic. It's not fair.
What's his logic? Let's hear you.
Can I?
Yeah.
By the way, you're reading my thoughts.
No.
I was going to get a tea and I'm thinking how tonight I'm going to ask you about this. But you started this.
No.
His logic is this. In Gemara, we do Pikuras Nefesh, and Gemara explains, we're not saving the body of a Jew. We're saving the soul of a Jew. So because we save the soul of a Jew, this Jew for us, breaking the one Shabbat, will celebrate and keep all the Shabbats in his life. That's why we're allowed to do it. And that's why for those people who don't keep Shabbat, Gemara saying we don't have to save them.
The Torah said that you're only allowed to break Shabbat and a life risk of another Jew.
Yes. No,
not when he's in the mood to go to the beach.
Rabbi, let me ask a full question. Because I was the one.
Just do it quick because I don't want to burn the shiur on it. No?
Quick. So, we allowed to save for one single reason. So the Jew will keep more Shabbats in the future. That's why we're doing it. This guy, he went with his logic further and said, okay, if my wife is off the dairy, obviously, and doesn't want to keep the Shabbat, if I break the family, who's she going to marry? Some kind of another Halani Jew or a Goy? And my children who I have with this wife, going to grow up as a Goyim, never going to celebrate and keep one single Shabbos in their life, wouldn't be equal what I am doing, breaking.
This is logical in your eyes?
No, that's what he
I'm beginning to have second thoughts about you.
No,
this is your logic?
Rabbi,
You're a very bad lawyer.
Rabbi,
You only made the situation worse. Well, wait, I'm just gonna... I don't want to let you finish. I'm not going to let you finish because my ears are about to fall from my head. Okay, wait. Now the second thing he said, about a week or two before I heard about it, he said, leave your wife alone. If she doesn't want to go to the mikveh, she's not ready. Leave her alone. She's not ready. Now let me tell you the laws. When one of the husband or the wife, when one of them became religious and the other one is not, and they want to get divorced, when they go to the Beit Din, they don't let them get divorced so fast. The husband say, I became Shomer Shabbat. She doesn't want to keep Shabbat. So they say to him, you're not going to divorce her. Let's go for a period, try to educate her, give her CDs, give her books, be pleasant to her, give her respect. Usually, if she loves her husband and respects him, she's willing to do it for him even. If not for God, at least for him. Give her a lot of attention until she becomes Shomeret Shabbat. You're not going to get divorced and break the family because she doesn't want to keep Shabbat. But rabbis, she also doesn't eat kosher. She brings pork to the house. You still don't divorce her. She steals from customers in a business. I don't want a wife like this. You don't divorce her. Technically, everything she does, you don't divorce her almost on everything. Unless she's acting as a prostitute, without going into details. Then you must divorce her. You cannot be with her. And she refused to go to the mikveh. She said to you, I'm not religious. You want to be religious, it's your problem. Don't force it on me. So you say to her, I'm not telling you to do anything. You don't want to eat kosher, it's your problem. You don't want to keep Shabbat, it's your problem. You want to watch bad movies, it's your problem. Only one thing you must do, otherwise there's no marriage. You must go to the mikveh, otherwise I cannot touch you. If I touch you without the mikveh, it's worse than being with my own mother. The Torah says a woman without purify herself in a mikveh, it's a karet punishment. It's not a joke here. It's the worst sins in the Torah. There are 36 very serious violations that a person can never do. Otherwise the soul get cut. Him and her. So I want to be married to you and for that I'm going to cut my soul for eternity? With all due respect to you, you're not exactly God yet. You don't want to go to the mikveh? There's no more marriage. But even that, they wait a month or two. But a man cannot live with his own wife in a room and she's walking around with him and she's not religious, she's not modest, without making sins. He cannot touch her. It's just going to lead to a sin. So the Beit Din will tell her, ma'am, you don't keep Shabbat, we're willing to wait for you a year or two. You don't eat kosher, we're willing to wait for you. You don't go to the mikveh, we must order you to get divorced. But now we're going to go into the divorce process. So according to the genius, he said, leave your wife alone. She's not ready. What do you mean she's not ready? Don't you know that every beit din in a history, when it comes to nida, even the most lenient rabbis, they know that the halacha is, and it's in hundreds of she'elot v'tshuvot of all the poskim, Sfaradim and Ashkenazim. When it comes to nida, if she doesn't go to the mikveh, you cannot live with her. And now since I mentioned it, we're done with him. I hope you're smart enough to understand that everybody that invites him to speak is machti arabim. He's spreading sins. He's destroying Hashem's Torah. Destroying Hashem's Torah. Definitely there's no mitzvah here. Only millions of sins. If you sponsor it, you're going to get punished. If you give your house, you're going to get punished. All the Jews who heard this person that has no idea what Torah is, every person that heard and will hear his speeches later on, for every one of them you're going to get punished. That's what you want to your soul? Do it. I did what I have to do according to the law. I have to warn the naive and the ignorant Jews that do not know what's right and what's wrong. Many people are naive. They don't understand. They see somebody speaks a little bit sweet and say all kinds of jokes and stories. They get excited. They don't understand what's emet and what's sheker. Now I want to tell you a story. Right here in Brighton Beach, there's a lot of Russian people living here. It's a Russian neighborhood. It's been for a while a Russian neighborhood, many years. Many years ago, a man showed up and he came into the shul, and he was sitting on the side, and he was a very quiet man. For a few years, if I remember correctly, 7 years since he came from Russia, he was in a synagogue for 7 years. Doesn't talk to anyone. Comes, pray, finish, go home, quiet. One day, he passed away. He wasn't young. He passed. His wife came to the rabbi of the synagogue. Rabbi, can you help me to bring people to do a funeral to my husband? Chevrat Kadisha will take care of the body, but we need 10 people for minyan to say Kaddish. We don't have children. Who's going to say Kaddish for him? The rabbi said, of course. He started to make phone calls to the people of the community. Since nobody knew him, he wasn't such a talkative guy, only 7 people showed up. The rabbi and 6 more guys. It's not enough to say Kaddish. 7 men. The rabbi was very embarrassed. What kind of a community I have? I told them this person doesn't have children. Instead of leaving everything they do and come pay respect to the dead, they don't show up. So the rabbi said to her, I'm so sorry, none of us know your husband. From all the people over here, you're really the only person that can say a eulogy for him. And even though it's not acceptable that a woman would stand in front of a crowd and speak in front of a man, it's not modest. But since now it's kvod hamet and there's not really an audience here, maybe you say a few words for your husband. She got up and she said, you're probably wondering why we don't have children. When we live in a village in Russia somewhere, in a very primitive place, it was a very old and very poor area. And there were not that many Jews living there. And there was no mikveh over there. From the day we got married, my husband and I, we had a dream that one day we will have enough money to move to a big city, that I'll be able to go to the mikveh. But unfortunately, from the day we got married until the day we came to America, we never moved, and there was no mikveh. And from the day my husband married me until the day we came to America, he never even touched me once with his finger, because there was no mikveh. How could we make such a sin from the Torah? And that's why I don't have children. Only when we came to America, I was able to go to the mikveh and get purified. So the rabbi got the shock of his life. And after she finished, he said to the people, now I understand why no one showed up. Nobody in this generation perhaps has the merit to participate in a funeral of such a righteous angel? How many people would be able to survive 30, 40 years with a woman they love since they got married in their 20s until they came to America in their 50s, not touching the love of your life for 30 years, living with her in the same house? How many people like this? How? One I know, Yaakov Avinu. Yaakov. But he was 86 when he had Reuven. And it's written in the Torah, Reuven Reshit Oni. First time I had relation and seed came out of me was when I had Reuven. Meaning all these years before I never wasted a drop. Yaakov, by the way, Yaakov Avinu, he came back to the world as a reincarnation of who? Who came back? Yaakov Avinu came back to the world. Who was he? Rabbi Yehuda Hanassi, Rabbi, that wrote the Mishnah. And the Gemara says Rabbi never took his hands below his belt. That's how modest he was. Never. He made sure his hands are always above his belt. They used to wear long dresses, the men. You know, long all the way to the floor, and they have a belt. Why you need a belt? To cut the two halves of the body. The area of the organs into the heart, to make a separation because of modesty. Today we don't need it because we wear pants and we have belts. Or even without the belt, once we tie the button, it's already a separation, right? But Rabbi Yehuda Hanassi, it has a spark of the neshama of Yaakov Avinu. So this is to conclude that people that do not know what's right and wrong, they're not meshamesh, they never learn seriously in yeshiva, they don't have a serious rabbi that they consult with, they are very dangerous. They say very, very dangerous things in their speeches. We had an example of Dweck. We saw Ephraim Goldberg in Boca Raton that invite a priest, a Christian missionary, into a synagogue. We saw this Daniel Korovsky from Abayit synagogue in Toronto, who invited an imam and all the Muslim people into his synagogue. We see examples of people that decided to make themselves rabbis, even though they don't have the right ideology. They have very dangerous ideology and they destroyed souls of people. You have to understand one thing. If you go to learn math by a bad math teacher, what's the worst that can happen? You won't know math correctly. Maybe when you go to the final exam, you fail. So what's happened? You're still alive, you still have a wife, you still have children, you still found a job and make money, and maybe you became a millionaire. With math, without math, you still can have a fantastic life. But when you come to a rotten rabbi, a dangerous rabbi that teach the opposite of the truth of God, it's like going to a doctor who gives you the wrong medicine and kills you or make you paralyzed. But with the rabbis, it's much worse than the doctor. Everyone agree that if you went to the doctor and the doctor, because of malpractice, made you paralyzed, that now you're 50 years in bed, it's going to be $100 million lawsuit, right? Everyone understand that. And no one would say, hey, it's not fair. Why did he get $100 million? Would you like to be 50 years in bed for $50 million or $100 million? No one would want to be a week in bed like this for any amount of money. So the doctor murdered him because of his malpractice and negligence. He has to pay, or at least his insurance will pay. Okay. But by the rabbis is much more dangerous than the doctor. Because the doctor can kill you to maximum 60, 70, 80 years. That's it. Let's say you were a little kid and he did a horrible mistake and he made you paralyzed for all your life. How many years you suffer? 70, 80 years and you die. The rabbi can destroy you from eternity. For instance, people that listen to those two things I just mentioned in the name of this Kasuto, and they follow his instruction, every Shabbat they make the worst sins with death penalty, and the soul is going to be cut from the eternal world for eternity because of this Kasuto, and because of the person who invited him to speak, and because of the person who gave money to sponsor the speech. Everyone who participated in this crime, they're all gonna pay for the destruction of those souls. And if someone said to his wife, honey, no problem, you don't want to go to the mikveh? Okay, I heard this genius, Gdol Ador, the Gaon, the new Rambam. He said, it's no problem, I shouldn't pressure you, so let's have children without mikveh. Read in the Gemara what's going to be with these children, what's going to be with your descendants. Not to talk about the karet punishment and how much suffering you're going to have to go through. I want to tell you a story in the Gemara. The Gemara say, one woman came to the rabbis in the yeshiva 2,000 years ago, not today. The biggest rabbis we had in history. She walked in crying, "Rabbis, I demand an answer. What happened? Ma'am, my husband died young, and he was a religious man. Why did he have to die young? He wasn't Mechalel Shabbat. He wasn't someone who eat non-kosher. He was not a thief. He's learning every day. He prayed 3 times a day. Why did he have to die young? He was a good man. He had nice manners." The rabbi has to give her an answer now, so they have to make an investigation. So the rabbi asked her, was your husband making this sin? Was he charging interest? Was he doing this? Was it nothing? Everything is fine. Everything V is really good. Then they ask her, did your husband make sins with you before you went to the mikveh? When you got your period before you went to the mikveh, did you have a relationship? God forbid. Of course not. We know it's a very big sin. Okay. Did you sleep in the same bed? She say, yes, we have one bed. We slept in the same bed with distance. And we never touched each other. We were very careful. Not that they made sins. Just they had one bed, large bed. They have a separation between them. They were very careful not to touch each other. But it's against the law. The rabbi started to bless Hashem for taking her husband young, in her face. They didn't know what does it mean to be politically correct. Bless God that took your husband from this world young. Imagine a rabbi will tell her something like this. Tomorrow, right away, all over the news, the Haredi news, the religious websites, the murderers, the biggest murderers. The next day, a fanatic, radical rabbis in the yeshiva told the widow, bless God that took your husband young because he was laying next to you in a bed, although he never touched you. Not one synagogue would invite them to give a speech, these rabbis. Those are the rabbis that thanks to them we are alive today. You know, without them we wouldn't have Torah. Everything we know today is thanks to them. What the Gemara, who wrote the Gemara, you think? This is the rabbis we're talking here about. They couldn't get one speech anywhere today. You're too fanatic, rabbi. You want to speak? Okay, we won't put you in a flyer. In the end, we'll let people you coming. Some people complain. They don't like to hear the truth of the Torah. That's what's going on today. So you coming to people and say, leave your wife alone? So what if she doesn't want to go to the mikveh? What, you became the new Rav Ovadia Yosef, making up rules? Or you come and say to them, homosexuality is a fantastic development for humanity. And you're still after that dare to call yourself a rabbi? Do you know one Muslim person in the world that will dare to say such a sentence? Muslim that kill every day in a Hamas or in ISIS. A murderer that shoot people's head every day for breakfast. Tell him, Ahmed, repeat this. What's this? Here, say this. You crazy? Say this, I give you $100. No, I'll give you $1,000. Say it. No. Ahmed Kadam, $10,000. Say it. He will not agree to say it. I put my name, I sign. No Ahmed would say such thing. And also many Christians won't say that. Some would, but many won't. Righteous Christian wouldn't say it. Meaning righteous in a way that they believe they do the right thing and they fear God. They follow a fake religion. How righteous you can be. But at least they have fear from God at least. They won't say such thing. Do you know how many Christian people give their life to prevent abortions in labs here in America? Many died for it. They go, they fight, they get shot by people. There are some countries here that if you come and you demonstrate without permit or something like this, or you go into someone's property, they can shoot you and kill you. And the police do not drop charges, like Texas. If you come at 1 a.m. to someone's property, when he sees you walking in his backyard, he can shoot you. Yes. I don't know in New York what's the law. But in Texas, I had one student who used to be working in a moving company. And they moved their house far away from one state to Texas. And there was traffic and delay. They arrived at 1 a.m. What are they going to do? They have to unload the furniture. They cannot stay there to sleep. By the morning, they have to be somewhere else already. What are we going to do? We're going to have to knock on the door. They knock on the door. He tells me, I knock on the door, 1 a.m. But I'm sure the people waiting for the furniture, so I wasn't so embarrassed to knock on the door. They're expecting us. I knock on the door, machine gun to my face. I almost got a heart attack. He almost shot me. And then after I told him, I'm a mover, look at the truck. That was a mistake. It was next mansion. You know, there's ranches over there. You have to drive another minute or two over there. That's where you have to go. But the guy told him, you're lucky I didn't shoot you. Could have shot you and no one would do anything about it. You're not supposed to enter my property. Especially at night, I guess. So here you go. You come when they make an abortion, you come in, you scream, murder! Boom, he shoots you. What are you going to do? Nobody gave him permission to enter. Or you attack the guard, the security guard, you knock him down and you walk in, he shoots you back. Many Christians die to save innocent babies, even though they have no relation to these babies. They don't know them. But they do it for the sake of God, right? What other reason they have to go and do it? So we see that some of these things, even the Goyim will not dare to say. And we, the children of God, that got the Torah with all the instructions, we became worse than animals. That's very painful. I tell you the truth. This Kasuto, I don't know him, I never met him, I never spoke to him, I never been in the same place with him, nothing. I don't think he's evil, like the other ones I mentioned. They are very evil people. I saw them, I see how they act, I see how they comment on the internet, I see that they're very evil. Maybe he's not evil. Maybe he's a sweet guy, he's a personality, maybe he does a lot of good, I don't know. Speaker, he cannot be. That's it. Go teach math. Go teach how to serve. Go teach how to swim. Torah you cannot teach. It's not for you. You don't have common sense. You're making very big mistakes. You're destroying souls. For your own sake, I beg you, quit. Save the people from making sins. For your own good. Let's move on. We're entering Sefer Dvarim. The Ramban explained that in Sefer Dvarim, you will never find expressions that you find many, many times in the other 4 books of Moses, such as Vaidaber Hashem el Moshe. In all the Torah, in Shmot, in Vaikra, in Bamidbar, it repeats many, many times. And Hashem spoke to Moshe. In Sefer Dvarim, you don't have it. Or Tzav et Bnei Israel. Command, order the children of Israel to do certain things. Or Daber el Bnei Israel ve'amarta alehem. Or speak to the nation of Israel and inform them. Why we don't have this so common expressions that we have in the rest of the Torah? We don't have it in the book of Deuteronomy. Why? Because all the mitzvot of the Torah, all the commandments of the Torah were already given to Moshe in the last 40 years since they came out of Egypt until now. This is the last month before the nation of Israel, before Moshe Rabbeinu passed away. This is the last month of the 40 years of the desert. Everything is completed. Moshe is about to complete the original text of the Sefer Torah. Maybe I should elaborate a little more. I want to explain to you how it was, because I realize that many of the people do not understand. Moshe Rabbeinu, when he came down after 120 days that he was in a mountain, he went up 40, he came down, he broke the first commandment, he went up again, he got the second commandment, he came down, it was Yom Kippur. The next day he started to judge the people, all to get there 120 days that he was in a mountain, just like his life. His life was also 120 years. When Moshe Rabbeinu came down from the mountain after all the struggle he had, and he had to beg that Hashem will forgive the sin of the golden calf and all of that, what did Moshe give to the Jewish nation? What part of the Torah he gave them? Do you know? So it's written clearly in the Torah that he gave them the 10 commandments. The first one he broke, so he gave them the second one. The first commandment that Moshe broke were in a higher level than the second. The first one, the tablet was made by God himself, and the writing. And the second one, he said to Moshe, go make the tablets, and then I'm going to write on it. Meaning, it's half human, half divine. Moshe had to prepare the tablet. Do you know if we had the tablets today that Moshe broke, you know what would be the value of it? How much a little tiny ruby costs? 2 carats, 3 carats. Can be millions of dollars. I held in my hand one pink ruby, $2.2 million. And there were many, many little stones that comes in a setting. Each little stone, $110,000. And all of it was very, very small, like a marble or the pit of the, not even the pit of the peach. All together, if you combine all of them together, very, very small. You can put it in your shirt pocket and you won't even know it's there. Over $4 million. The tablets were very heavy and big. It was made from the best, what do you call it? Sapphire? What's the name? In the right English for the material. Sapphire. It's more expensive than diamonds sometimes. Imagine a big, massive, it's very, very heavy. We couldn't pick it up. It's very heavy. The luchot were actually helping Moshe to carry them. Only when he saw the scene, he lost his energy and they fell. It's very, very heavy. Imagine how many billions of dollars it would worth. That's, by the way, how Moshe became rich. From the pieces that broke, Hashem allowed it. You did right that you broke it. I gave it to them, they don't deserve it. You broke it, yeshar kochacha asher shibarta, the Gemara say. Very good that you broke it. There's one question we have to ask. Hashem already told Moshe before he came down from the mountain that the Jewish people made a golden calf and they danced around it. It was the Erev Rav, the Gentiles that came out of Egypt, they are the one who made it. But the Jews apparently did nothing about it. They did nothing about it. So because they did nothing about it, they got all different kinds of punishments in different levels, depend how much they participated. So I don't understand one thing. Hashem already said to Moshe up there, read, go down, because the nation you took out of Egypt on your own opinion, those Egyptians, they are rebelling against me. Red kishichet amcha, your nation. Why didn't Moshe take the commandments up there and break it? He only broke it after he came all the way down and he saw them in his own eyes dancing around the golden calf. That's when he broke it. Why he didn't break it up there? What, God is a liar? He didn't believe him? If Hashem say to you, that's what's happening down there, right away you should take the commandments and break it. If that's the case, I don't want to give it to them, kill me. Better you take me from this world. I don't want anything to do with them, right? But he took it all the way down, he carried it, and then when he saw it, he finally believed it, and he broke the commandments. What's going on over here? The answer, we have a rule in life. No matter how much I'm going to explain to you about a phenomena of something that took place and something that happened, you can never reach 100% level of faith and emunah and knowledge in what I'm about to tell you. You can reach a certain level. Trust me, you believe what I say, but it's still not 100% settled in your mind. 1 second you see it, it's better than a 1-year speech I'm going to give you. I can give you a 1-year speech about someone that does something horrible. A year. You're listening and you're fuming and you're furious. Finally, when you see it in your own eyes, you're going crazy. Then you say to him, I don't understand. For 1 year I've been telling you about this guy. Why all of a sudden now you got angry? For 1 year I've been telling you. No matter how much you told me, I couldn't imagine that it's that bad. Until he saw it. Even when Hashem said to Moshe, only when he saw it, it broke his heart. But when he was only as a knowledge in his mind without seeing it, it wasn't 100% settling it. And he broke it. And then he came down and he brought the second commandment. So he brought the second commandment. What else did he bring? It's written that the next day he sat as a judge in a court, and he was an arbitrator between all the delegation cases. So meaning he had to have all the oral laws, because all the laws of the Beit Din, 99% of them come from the oral law, not from the written law. In a written Torah you only have the headlines, briefly, but all the thousands of laws are all verbal, Torah shebe'al peh. So Moshe had the entire oral Torah. Also God said to him, do as I showed you in the mountain. Meaning he showed him things in the mountain that it's not written in the text of the Torah. But what about the written Torah? When Moshe came down, did he bring also, besides the commandment, he brought a scroll of Sefer Torah? Or he did not bring a Sefer Torah yet? What do you think?
No. He didn't.
So they didn't have a written Torah for 40 years? The Jews didn't have a scroll of Torah? They didn't read the Bereshit bara Elokim et hashamayim ve'et haaretz, and God created heaven and earth.
No, when he came back for the first time, when he came back, he started writing down whatever Hashem gave him over there. He wrote down the first piece.
So he came with something written or no?
No, nothing written. He came and wrote.
Huh?
He wrote it himself when he came out.
It's written in the Torah, in the last parasha of the Torah, that the day that Moshe died, he wrote 12 Sifrei Torah, and another one he wrote and put it inside the ark. Why? To have an original copy, like the master. And every tribe got a Sefer Torah, and they started to copy from each other. They have already one. Copy. Begin to copy. Copy from each other. And if you have a doubt, if one day tribe of Shimon has a different spelling than the tribe of Reuven. Oh, by you it's with Aleph, by me it's with A. How come? Let's go to the original one. Opening. Oh, here you go. You made a mistake, not me. The next day, you made. That's how they need to have an original, not to make mistakes. The Muslims, for instance, they have hundreds of different Qurans. When they copy it, it started 1400 years ago almost. They copy from each other. They made millions of mistakes or thousands of mistakes. Doesn't matter. Thousands is bad enough. Many different versions. Over here it's different name. Over here it's another name. Words are missing, different spelling. You can check on the internet. Put different text of the Quran. You're not going to believe what you're going to read over there. Even in the life of Muhammad, he had 4 wives. Maybe he had more, but 4 of his wives, each one of them had a different Quran in his lifetime. Not 100 years later. While he was alive, this wife had this Quran, and the next one had a different one, and the next one, and they already have different text. And then later he had a cousin or an uncle named Ali. Go and check over there in the internet, I don't remember anymore. And he completely made a different one, and that's what you have today, Shiites and Sunni that kill each other non-stop. Imagine if it wouldn't be. All their energy will go against the Jews. Now 90% of their energy goes to kill each other. Sunni and Shiites killing each other all over the Middle East, non-stop. And the time they have left, they go after the Jews. Imagine if they all live in peace and harmony. No Sunni, no Shiites. Everyone together. Iran, Iraq, Saudi, Kuwait, Jordan. Everyone together. Like one nation. That's the way it should have been. But Baruch Hashem, Hashem saw it coming. He instigated between them. So they busy killing each other non-stop. Like this, the energy they have left for the Jews, Baruch Hashem, is not enough to destroy us. Because otherwise, if the Arabs would be united, all they had to do is to just walk to Israel. That's it. They don't even have to fight. They don't have to fight. All they have to do, 1.8 or 1.5 billion, just walk to Israel with white flags. Parade! It's in style today to make parades. Peace! Bismillah! They come like this, with candy. Yahud, we love you. We brought you some Arabic candy from the Ramadan. What are you going to do? The soldier's going to shoot them? You know how it's going to be? Itzik, the soldier, he see an ocean of white flags coming towards the border. One guy in the border of Syria, he'll check, sir, something is happening over here. A white cloud is on the way here. Someone from the border in Jordan, sir, I don't know what's going on. Millions of people walking here in the border with Egypt. All over, they come. Like this, peace, open the gate. He calls his commander, who called the commander, who called the Minister of Defense, who called Bibi, that call is Kushner, that calls Trump, that calls Putin. By the time they get to Putin, the Arabs broke the gate, and they're already in Tel Aviv, you know, with their darbuka and music. You know how they scream, well done. They have a song. How much you can shoot? How much? You don't have enough bullets in the storages of the Israeli army for half of them. There's nothing you can do. Technically, what I'm trying to say, Rabotai, you don't really need to fight. Unity, just walk like this. We didn't come with weapon. Here, surrender. Boom, boom, boom. They knock down the fence. Nothing you can do. And they walk in, and they fill up Israel. Sits in the highways, fill up the beaches, in hospitals, everywhere. Tel Aviv, in a Knesset, sitting on the floor with their babies, with their children. They take over Israel. What do you think is going to happen? What are you going to do now? What's Trump going to send the Marines? You see how much Hashem is saving us? One day, and today it's very easy to do it. Maybe 40 years ago it was very difficult to organize such a thing. Today with the Facebook and YouTube and all these things, in 1 hour you can organize it. In Egypt, they made a revolution in 1 hour. Knocked down the Mubarak from Facebook. Facebook knocked down Mubarak and Facebook knocked down the Muslim Brothers. In 1 hour, everybody comes to the center of Cairo over there. 1.5 million people shows up. That's it. The regime collapsed. Today it's very easy to organize it. What do you think is going to happen when Mashiach comes? The Zohar says when Mashiach comes, the Erev Rav, those people who gave hard time to Moshe, they're constantly coming back in reincarnations of wicked people. They're going to fight Moshe Rabbeinu. They come to fight against Moshe, against Mashiach. When Mashiach shows up, they all come to fight against the Messiah. People that are considered to be Jews. They don't want the Mashiach to come. It's against their ideology. They don't want to be religious. They don't want Bet Mikdash now. They don't want sacrifices now. The religious people right? The rabbi was right? We're not going to let it happen. So the question is, the Zohar was written 2,000 years ago. How did the Zohar know that so many thousands of wicked people would come to fight against Mashiach? How you can organize such a thing without telephone, without radio, without Facebook, without communication, without internet? How will you organize all the wicked people of Israel to come to the Western Wall by the Olive Mountain with their rifles or whatever they have to fight the Mashiach, not to let him come down to the Kotel? How are you going to do such thing? Today, you got your answer. quickly on Facebook, Messenger, WhatsApp groups. In less than 2-3 hours, you're going to have thousands of wicked people coming there. Some of them are officers in the army. They're going to come with a gun. Some of them maybe even come with a jeep from the army, with any kinds of things. Why? We have to fight the Mashiach. We don't want a religious country. We're going to fight it. But the Zohar said that they don't understand who Mashiach is. They think they can fight him with swords or with violence. And he begin to say words, holy words, and they all goes on fire. Try to imagine. Mashiach comes down from the mountain. There's a big siren all over the world. Eliyahu Hanavi shofar. Thousands of wicked people scream, "We don't want you. We don't want religion here. We don't want this. Get out of here, racist. What did you come to do to the world? We're not interested." The Mashiach don't even have to fight them. He say a few words. All of them on fire in seconds. Imagine thousands of people goes on fire. That's what's going to happen. If it's written, that's what's going to happen. Whether people want it, they don't want it, they agree with it, they disagree with it, they hope, they don't hope, doesn't matter. It's not relevant. It will happen for sure. The question is, where are we going to be? Are we going to be those people who demonstrate against him? Are we going to be the people that will have the merit to see him? Are we going to even be alive when it happens? And if we already died, are we going to resurrect to see him? All these questions are subject only to one thing. How are we going to behave? We're going to be righteous, only good will come to us. We're going to continue to do bad things, we're going to pay the price. There's no hypocrisy here. You with me? I'll protect you. How you get protected? Torah and Gmilut Chasadim. If you're constantly connected to Torah, automatically you have a special shield. But not everyone can sit and learn Torah all his life. Most of the people don't sit in yeshiva all day. They learn an hour, 2 hours, here and there, on a bus, in the airport. They try to learn, but they still have business and work and a lot of obligations. What's going to be with them? They don't have enough Torah. The answer, they must have chesed. They have to do a lot of chesed. How do you do chesed? You help people, you volunteer, you give a lot of charity, you open your house for guests. If somebody needs a favor, you run to help. If you have connection, you make phone calls for him. All the time. If you see on a WhatsApp that this little girl drowned, you saw the picture of the girl with it. You know how many people died in the last week? 8 people drowned to death in Israel. 8 people drowned. And every hour or two somebody else died. I don't remember in 23 years that I give speeches a year with so many tragedies like this year. I don't think even half of the tragedies we have now in any previous years. Mamash, every hour or two another death case. Another death. The 3 weeks. All the terrorism, the Arab, rising, shooting, slaughtering this family of 3. It could have been a lot worse. The mother and the children were hiding while the father was fighting this monster. They were able and managed to escape. Otherwise, another 3 or 4 people would be slaughtered. And the grandmother, do you know how she described? On Friday night, they sit in a Shabbat table. He walks into the house. "Who are you?" And he smiles. He wasn't even nervous that in 1 minute he's going to slaughter them. This is what the Zohar says about Ishmael Pere Adam. A normal person that decided to kill someone, he will shake for an hour before and a year after. He won't sleep at night, he'll have nightmare. It will take him months to make up his mind. I have no choice, I have to do it. And finally, when he wants to do it, he's going to vomit, he's going to be nervous, he's going to take some pills to relax. He walks in. "Who are you?" Smile like this. All of a sudden, killed all of them. There's no death penalty in Israel.
There's one guy that said, I read it, I saw it, they're going to start giving death penalty. It can't go on like this.
I want to tell you, allow me to get you disappointed a little bit. I'm sorry. Share with me the grief. Half me, half you. Until now it was only me. Now I'll give you half of my pain. I saw yesterday a picture. It drove me nuts. This terrorist was removed from the place because he got wounded. One neighbor shot him by Israeli helicopter. Took him to a hospital to save his life. It cost $30,000 to send a helicopter to pick up this murderer, and he's laying in an Israeli hospital eating yogurt and smiling to the camera. 5-star hotel. Israel. Democracy. One day they would listen to what I've been saying for years. Democracy was not designed to protect murderers and rapists and minority who declared that they want to destroy the rest of the people. For that, democracy was not designed. It was designed for the weak, righteous people that the majority wants to take advantage on. We are the majority, you are a minority, we don't give you rights. Why? We don't like the color of your skin. We don't like your accent. We don't like your names. We don't like your whatever. For that, democracy was designed, which is very good. It was not designed to protect monsters and murderers, or people that say, as soon as I will be able to, I will slaughter you. The Torah say, if someone says such thing, when I have my opportunity, I'm going to slaughter all of you, immediately you execute him. He already told you his plan. I'm going to kill you as soon as I will be able to. Immediately you have to kill him. Without a trial. You get a gun and you shoot him and you kill him. The chief rabbi of Israel, 4 days ago, he gave a speech, Rabbi Yosef, the son of Rav Ovadia. He's very brave, I gotta tell you this, because when you work for the government, for the Zionist government, when 60% of them are anti-religion, and there are 14 Arab murderers, terrorists sitting in the government, and another 40 or 50 lefties and liberals, right? So he gave a speech. Remember, he gets his salary from them. You have an official job. You're not an independent rabbi. I can say whatever I want. Nobody pays me salary. I don't work for any organization, no government, no nothing. No city. No, I say whatever I want. That's what the Torah say, I'm going to say it. You like it, fine. You don't like it, it's your problem, not mine. What is he going to do? He can't fire me. He never hired me. But the chief rabbi, he can get fired in a minute. In one phone call. We're sorry, Rabbi, you crossed the line. You have to resign. That's it. What did he say? He said, what kind of stupidity is this? How did these terrorists survive the attack? We must have a rule. Everyone who tried to murder an innocent person, anyone, Israeli, Druzi, and even Arab, just innocent person on the street, you come and you kill him, he can never come out of this attack alive. Even if he lay on the floor, even if he fell, even if he's going to die in an hour, even if he's in critical condition, you take the machine gun and you kill him. You don't let him ever come out of the sight. One Israeli soldier did it. They sent him to jail for almost 2 years. Send him to jail. And he said to them, I don't understand. What happened if he was booby-trapped? They can have bombs. Well, what do I know what he has in his back or under his pants? Maybe he has a button, he's going to press and explode and kill all of us. I have to save his life? He just stabbed people and shot them. I don't want to take 1% or 1% chance that he will do something. A few days ago it happened. One terrorist was laying on the floor and he tried to get up and kill them. Another second he would be able to, after they thought he's almost dead, laying on the floor. Somehow he got a weapon and almost shot them. So what do you see over here? Baruch Hashem, we have Torah, and the Torah gave the answers to all these dilemmas. But when our leader never opened a book of Torah once in their life, that's why we look like a circus. It's a bunch of clowns. They don't know anything from their life. So, let's move back to this, and it says like this. All the mitzvot of the Torah, Moshe Rabbeinu came down, he had the 10 commandments, and he had all the oral Torah, meaning he had all the 613 commandments, and the description how to keep them, how to make tefillin. Do you know how long it takes to make a pair of tefillin? One pair of tefillin, do you know how much it takes? How long it takes to make a pair of tefillin? Who knows? I'll tell you some of the steps. One day there is a cow walking in a field. They take the cow, slaughter it, remove the skin. After they remove the skin, take the head off, clean all the inside, remove the skin. Now we have a bunch of skin with hair, pieces of skin. This will turn into this black tefillin. From this you're going to make the tefillin. The inside and the outside. Yes. It's a very, very long process. First, you have to process it in lime. Why? Because it's moisturized right now. The skin just came out from a cow that was alive a minute ago. It's still very elastic. You won't be able to. You have to process it in lime. Lime is this white powder. And makes it very dry. Then you have a special brush, remove the hair. You gotta remove the hair. You cannot make tefillin with the hair on it. After you remove the hair, now you have, it looks like a thick piece of paper, but it's really leather. Thin leather. And then it was processed in white, so you look at the cloth of the Sefer Torah, it looks white. Originally it was a lot darker. If you come close to the Sefer Torah from the back, like when the Ashkenazim raise it like this, one side you have the writing, and on the other side is blank. Come close, you see the stain of the skin of the cow. All the stains. So, and it's very expensive, by the way. Just to give you an example, a mezuzah. Let's look at this. It's half of this. Half. This is like 2 klafim of mezuzah. Half of this, piece like this, can be up to $10, depending on the level of it. Very expensive. Imagine the Sefer Torah. Each piece on a Sefer Torah, you know, it's sewed. It's in pieces. Let's say pieces like this. Squares like this. It's sewed one to another. With a special ligament of the cow, they sew it. Each piece like this, just the cloth, the parchment itself, is over $70. Without the writing, just the blank one to process it. It's not papers. So until you remove the thing, until you begin to make a shape of it, and the head has to be 4 departments. You have to see how it looks. It looks like a shoe sole in the beginning. And until they put it together and they make it equally square and measure it, and inside, in between, there's very thin skin. Very thin skin. You know, like the what's the name of those? No, not regular drums. The hand drums, bongos. You know you saw how it is? Very thin. It goes in between, because in the head there are 4 different pieces, and has to separate one from the other. And if it has a tiny hole, 1 hole, it's still kosher. 2 holes, it's not kosher. If you don't know who you buy your tefillin from, it can look very beautiful, but it can be not kosher. To be very, very careful. They check it with flashlight, okay. And then all the process of writing everything. You have to write it twice. On the hand, you write 4 chapters of the Torah in one piece, long, like a belt, very long. And you roll it, and you put it in the hand. And the head, it's 4 different pieces. You write separately, you fold it, you make a knot, and you put it inside. And then you close it, and you sew it, and then you have to make the sheen. You take a piece of metal, it looks like a sheen. You dip it in certain ink, everything natural. You attach it on both sides, sheen with 3 and sheen with 4. One on this side, one on this side. After you make the mark, you have to take a special clip, and you have to press all the background in, that the sheen will pop out. You have to push it in, and it has to be warm, hot. Like this, it's skin, it's leather. So you press it inside, you press until the shin comes out. And then you have to paint the shin. It's all handmade. Then you paint the tefillin, then you have the stripes. You have to make the stripes handmade, and you have to paint it, and all this, and you push it in the time. It's so much work. Bottom line, 1 year of work. 1 year of work. 1 year of work to prepare it. Sometimes after 2-3 months, it becomes not kosher, pasul. It's enough the sofer work a day, all day. One mistake he made, he continue, and he realized too late. He has to bury it in the ground. Who's going to pay him for the 10 hours of work? No one. All waste. So to prepare tefillin, there's about, I don't know, maybe 1,000 different rules. For instance, on the head, you always have few hair comes out, white hair. White hair. It's not hair, it's the ligaments of the cow. About 2 or 3 of them always come out. Many people think it's a defect in the manufacturing. There's some leftover from the sewing stripes. So they take a knife and shave it, cut it out, and it makes the tefillin not kosher. $1,000 pair of beautiful tefillin. A little bit hair comes out from the square. He cuts it with a razor to make it perfect. It happened twice. 2 people told me, Rabbi, where are the stripes? Oh, I cut it. It was leftover. It's not leftover. It has to be like this. Hashem said to Moshe Rabbeinu from the 3rd parasha, the ligaments of the cows have to come out. If not, it's not kosher. There are 1,000 laws. One of them you do incorrectly, the tefillin is a piece of shoe. Nothing. You're not allowed to even say the blessing. They're wasting your time. Where all these laws came from? Did you ever see one of them written in a Torah? You read in the 5 books of Moses. Does it say there how to make tefillin? All it says, you should put it on your hand, and you should put it in between your eyes as a sign. That's it. What is it? Doesn't say. What color? Doesn't say. What shape? Doesn't say. From what animal? Doesn't say. What's to write inside? Doesn't say. What material to use inside? Doesn't say. How to sew it? All these rules. Doesn't say anything. Nothing. So where all these laws came from? The answer, Moshe came down with massive, millions of gigabytes of information. Basically what you see today, all the Talmud and all the Mishnah and the Kabbalah, Moshe had it all in his head. Hashem was teaching him and he forget everything. Hashem inserted to him like a disc. And he came down knowing the entire Torah by gift, not by effort. He could never achieve it in 40 days. And then he started to teach the people. Today I'm going to teach you how to circumcise the baby. What happens if the baby is yellow? What happened if he was born early? If he was born in the 8th month? You're allowed to circumcise. What happened now if you miss the day? Can you cut the orla, the foreskin? Can you cut it at night? Can you cut it by a woman or only by a man? Because a man, it's mitzvah for men. What happens if a woman wants to do it? Is she allowed or not? You need to know all these rules. What happens if your neighbor, the goy, is a doctor? Come, let me help you out. I'm a doctor. I want to circumcise your baby. You do the bracha, you do everything. I'm an expert. I will cut and I will make the baby. I'll put the bandage. Allowed, not allowed. All these rules. There's hundreds of rules applies to each mitzvah. Or thousands. All of that Moshe had to teach the people. But what about the written text? The answer, as he came down, he started to write parts of the Torah little by little. In the beginning, he wrote everything in one shot until Parashat Yitro. Bereshit bara Elokim, God created heaven and earth. In the beginning, God created heaven and earth. And description of creation of Adam and Eve, and all the story, and the Shabbat, and all that. Then he goes into the time of Noach, after Adam v'Chava, Cain and Evel and Noach and Avraham and Yitzchak and Yaakov and going to Egypt. Until today. What is it today? Today I came down. All of you heard the voice of God speaking to us. Up to now, it's already written. Because that's history. It happened already. What's going to happen from now until we enter Israel? I don't know yet. As Hashem tell me, every once in a while, I will add another part to the Torah. Another page, another chapter. In a period of 40 years, Moshe would add different parts to the written Torah after the events already took place. You understand? After it happened, he adds another part. Another something happened, he adds it to the Torah. As Hashem told him, he goes to the tent, the Shekhinah of Hashem comes in a cloud, and Hashem begin to show him ladders of fire running. You know, like the electronic screens, how the ladders are running? Black background and ladders of fire running, and Moshe Rabbeinu writes, and that's how we know where to put a comma, when is a new word, when is the beginning of a sentence, end of a sentence, beginning of a new chapter. After all of that, we came to the last day of the life of Moshe Rabbeinu, the last day. How can you write 13 Torah scrolls in one day? Even a computer cannot do it. Did you see the robot that writes? Do you see the robot that holds the feather and writes? Of course, it's not kosher, and it's very fast compared to a person, but it's not. But it cannot finish 13 Sifrei Torah. Each Sefer Torah has 304,805 letters. Multiply it by 13. How many? Over 4 million letters you have to write. How can a person take a feather, dip it in ink, in a bottle of ink, black ink, and write Aleph? This is Aleph. I have 4 more millions letters to go in one day. Only when it's light. At night you cannot write. It wasn't like today, you have electric. You can see. So you have maybe 10 hours a day that you can write 13 Sifrei Torah. Is it possible or no? By miracle, yes. Of course, naturally, you need 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. You won't be able to finish. Today when we order a Sefer Torah from a sofer, how long does it take until you finish it? Over a year. One Sefer Torah. Over 1 year. Sometimes 2 years. Write for me 13 Sifrei Torah. He started when he was 21, finished when he's 70. Here, finally, I finished the mission. How Moshe did it in 1 day? All by a miracle. And that day also, Hashem took him to the mountain and he showed him all the events that will take place in Israel and the future of the Jewish nation. And he saw everything what happens today still in Israel, Moshe saw. Everything. The Ramban say, all the mitzvot of the Torah were already given to Moshe in the 40 years in the beginning of the generation of the desert. Now Moshe is giving his own speech. He's teaching, he's rebuking, he's warning the entire nation of Israel. He rebukes them for all their sins, for all the bad things that they did. He notified them with the huge reward of keeping the commandments and the punishment of not keeping the commandments and breaking the rules of God. I want to tell you something. Let's be honest for a minute. After you read one chapter of Deuteronomy, anyone you want, when Moshe rebuked the nation, after saying what Moshe said, do you think Moshe would be invited to speak in one synagogue in the world? Or they put all a ban on him? It's too extreme. Fanatic. Ma, he write in Parashat Ki Tavo 100 curses? Are you normal? You're writing to us such curses? You want to speak in a synagogue? Moshe would say, excuse me, I don't speak for my stomach. I say what God said. We don't want to hear it. You're too fanatic. Moshe, please, we are modern here. You're too much for us. Do you know one place that will allow him to speak? Be honest with me. Tell me which place, which yeshiva, which shul, would say, Moshe ben Amram, after you give such a strong speech, with so many punishments and warnings, and chas v'shalom curses, please come to be the guest speaker in our annual dinner. If they would invite him, probably nobody would show up to the annual dinner. Why? Why? Bottom line, nobody wants to hear the truth. I don't like it. It bothers me. It's really not against you, Moshe, personally. I really don't have anything against you. I hate what you represent. But I cannot declare that I hate God and His Torah, and I'm disgusted from His rules and His warnings and His punishments. I don't want to admit it. Very easy to blame you. You take the blame. What, do you expect me to demonstrate against God? You want me to write in the newspaper a whole nasty article against God, that is radical and extreme and is cruel? That's what you want me to say? I can't. Come on, I have my limits. It's God after all. I'm afraid to mess with Him. But you'll take the blame. Just like these fools who curse the postman when he brings them a bad letter from the court. You and your bad luck. בארץ, in Hebrew it sounds better. אתה עם העיניים שלך עוד פעם באת. Make me עין הרע like this. What do you want from me? I only give mail. Next time if you have such bad news, don't come. You fool, if I don't come, it's only going to get worse. You cannot run away from reality. So now, 36 days before Moshe passed, he began his speech. Ele הדברים, numeric value 36. Chazal are teaching us in a Zohar in Parashat Pinchas that the Shekhinah, Hashem, is speaking from the throat of Moshe. Like a microphone. How can a person speak to 3.5 million people? And they all hear him. I met some people in my life that had very loud voice. Really loud. They can be good for 200-300 people without a microphone. You want to give a speech. You go to a huge synagogue. Most speakers, they need a microphone. Even to a place like this, with an audience like this, they need a microphone. They can't speak for 2 hours and destroy their thought. Imagine 3 million people. Imagine a rock and roll band come to Central Park and give a concert to 500,000 New Yorkers without a microphone. Imagine. He comes with his guitar. I am just a poor boy. 5 people says, louder. Over there they think you're rich. He screams, he jumps. 5th row, 6th row, 10th row, that's it. The people over there on the other side of the park, they don't even see him. Forget about hearing him. Moshe speaks to millions of people, Habibi. It's no joke. The miracles, it goes to every ear. Not only that, when we got the Torah, all the blind people, their eyes opened up. All the deaf people, their ears opened up. If we would get the Torah today, how it would be? In WhatsApp group. Everyone dial this number, connect. And Hashem will speak. Record a message, first mitzvah, send. Everyone, Baruch Hashem. Okay, next. That's how it goes. Everyone would stand, 3 million people with their smartphone, and slowly get it. Oh, you need a real serious microphone everywhere. You need a whole system over there. Moshe speaks, Shekhinah is speaking from his throat. Some of the laws were given to Moshe. You're buying Empire State Building? Huh? Someone is in life risk? It looks like the subway here. You go, you come back, you know. Baruch Hashem. Anyway, so it says, Some of the mitzvot were given to Moshe Rabbeinu in Egypt before they even came out. Which ones? Which mitzvot he already knew before he came out of the filthy place of Egypt? Huh? Pesach, matzah, matzot, maror, Pesach, what else? Shchita, slaughtering. Kiddush Levana? Kiddush Levana? You mean renewal of the moon? Oh. Brit Milah was given in Mitzrayim? Or only when they came out? The laws that were given in Mara, they were given before the Torah. Shabbat, Parashat Aman, the man. Amalek, it was given in Refidim. From the date of Rosh Chodesh Nisan. When did we come out of Egypt? The middle of Nisan, right? So 2 weeks before, right? 2 weeks before, Hashem started to throw some mitzvot at us. Until the 6th of Nisan. Until the 6th of Sivan, not Nisan. Which was the time of Matan Torah, Chag Shavuot. So how many days? 36 days. Once there was Mount Sinai, until we build the Mishkan, right? Vav of Sivan, until Aleph Nisan of the next year. So about 11 months that we build the Mishkan, the temporary temple. The third period, after we build the Mishkan, 11 months after the Torah was given, until the sin of the spies. The sin of the spies. From the first day of Nisan in the second year, until Tisha B'Av on the second year. So from the first day of Nisan, so we have Nisan, Sivan, Iyar, Tammuz, Av, 9 days of Av, 4 months and 9 days. 4 months and 9 days, 169 days. Moshe Rabbeinu, you know, they started to cry. The nation of Israel cried on Tisha B'Av after they heard the spies. Hashem say, you cry for nothing. In this day you're going to cry for generations. Next week we're going to cry again. Why are we crying next week? Remember, next Tuesday when you sit on the floor on the morning, on Wednesday morning when you cry. Tuesday morning when you sit and cry, you will have to think, why am I sitting and crying? Because the temple was destroyed. Why it happened on this day? Because the spies spoke Lashon Hara about the Holy Land. And everybody cried for nothing, and we were ungrateful to God for giving us so much good. Not only we didn't say thank you, we started to complain until today we suffer forever and ever and ever. Why? Complainers. I can't stand complainers. In America, it's very much in style. Record your kids one day, especially in the summertime when they don't go to camp. Record them one day. How many complaints they have? What's for lunch? Chicken that left from Shabbat. Ma? I don't eat leftover. Okay, so should I take the meat? I have frozen meat. I don't want frozen. Frozen? When is it from? From Shavuot? I don't like this one. What kind of bread? Why don't you have the bread I like? Okay, tomorrow I go to the supermarket. I buy you the bread you like. Now, every minute I never complain. He plays on a game. It was my turn. Is this? Is that? I want new shoes. I don't like these shoes. What kind of mother you are? I'm tired of this. Why don't pick me up? Why do I have to wait? All my friends went home already. I'm late for baseball. Please take me fast. Help! Help!
Is that proper way of saying? That's that my ear?
Are you allowed to pray that a person will die? The answer is yes. When? When? When he suffers and he's sick. And when he destroys Judaism. He make damage to the Torah. He publish lies in the internet and bring Jews down. He goes with a married woman. People like this, you have to pray. Hashem, either they do tshuva or take them yesterday. David HaMelech wrote, listen to my series, Orchot Tzadikim. I bring all the sources over there. What the relationship between the righteous people to the wicked people? Do we have a room for politically correct people according to the Torah? Or they're just pure liars? Does Hashem like kiss up people, even if they're righteous, and they kiss up to the wicked people because they need the financial support, or they need a favor from them, or even when they want to make them religious, so they kiss up to them? He's such a great tzaddik. Wow, you're amazing, you're impressive. Wow, I'm amazed. To give them compliments. The answer is absolutely not. Nothing Hashem hates more than kiss up people. When they kiss up to the wicked people. Nothing he hates more than that. You kiss up to the person that is wicked, guarantee that Hashem will put you in the hand of that person. And he will destroy you. And if not him, his son. And if not his son, his grandson. Guarantee. Why? Because you kissed up to a wicked person against my will. Why? I wanted to make him religious. Come on. I didn't want him to give me money. Oh, if I wanted to do it for myself, I understand why you're angry. But I'm kissing up to him because I want to make him Shomer Shabbat. I give him life, fake compliments. I tell him how great he is. Why? Because I want him to listen to me that he becomes Shomer Shabbat. What's wrong with that? Allowed or not? The Orchot Tzadikim, the way of the righteous, this is the source, right there. Someone that is wicked, even when he does a mitzvah, you're not allowed to compliment him in public. You're not allowed to say, this guy saved us. The shul had a leak, we didn't have money, we needed $10,000 to fix the roof of the shul. My uncle is married to Goya, who is Mechalel Shabbat. He heard about it right away. He came with his truck, with his workers, and he fixed the shul. Thanks to him, we are able to pray here on Shabbat. Please, everyone, clap for my uncle Itzi. It's a very big sin to do such thing. Why? It's all true. Thanks to him, the shul got saved, no? What can I give him a compliment when he finally did something good? Read in Orchot Tzadikim, I didn't write it. It's 800 years old. אפילו כשרשע עושה מצווה, אסור. You're not allowed to להתחנף אליו. To kiss up to him and give him compliments. Why? Where is the logic? Don't we learn that when somebody does something positive, you have to encourage him and give him a lot of compliments that he would like to stay like that? Why it's dangerous to compliment wicked people? Yeah? Very good. That's one of two good answers.
Because of the public, they're going to think that you can do the right.
Very good. Between you and him, you gave the exact answer that he gives in Orchot Tzadikim. First answer, like she said, is because he will feel comfortable where he is. Look, the rabbi is respecting me. He's making me sit right there with the important people. He speaks to me like I'm myself a rabbi. That means I'm not so bad after all. So by giving him this compliment, you're murdering him. You don't intend to, but that's what's going to happen. You make sure he die Mechalel Shabbat. Second answer, if the people see that you give so many compliments to this wicked person, they say, so why am I trying so hard? It's enough to write a check here and there to the shul, and the rabbi kiss my hand every time I come, and I can do whatever I like. Why I'm killing myself? And they go down. It's very dangerous. I tell you a story. A very dear person to me used to argue with me. You're exaggerating. You keep threatening me about Shabbat. I don't think that the law is so strict. The usual stuff, you know. I say to him, if you know me well, you know I don't exaggerate and I don't make up stories. I say it exactly as it is. That's what it is. That's what's written. You want to take your chance? Take your chance. I told you what's written. That's it. You decide what you want to do. One time he went to Sheva Brachot, Shabbat Sheva Brachot, of a very famous rabbi in Israel that used to be a movie star. He left the movie. He was also director of movies. He was a TV show, TV host, the most popular guy in Israel for many years. One day, he became tzaddik. No more beach, no more drugs, no more women, no more Shabbat, Chilulei Shabbat. Became a learner of Torah. And I'm telling you, I know in a fact, he learns more than 30 years non-stop from morning to night. All day with Gemara, learning, mamash. And also he made a lot of people religious guy. Because a lot of the secular people admire him from the days he used to be a clown. They admire clowns. And the clown became a rabbi. I hate the rabbi part, but I still love the clown. So they follow him and they also became religious. One time his daughter got married. My father was invited from the side of the Khatan. He was a relative of us. And he was sitting in a meal and they made him sit next to this rabbi. And he was sitting next to him. And the entire Shabbat, he did not tell him one word about what's with you, you shomer Shabbat, this, you're not dressed like a Haredi, like all the people here. So you see, you exaggerate. I said, why? I was sitting next to this tzaddik the entire Shabbat in the table. He did not tell me one word about Shabbat, about this, about nothing. I said to him, look how the mind of a person works. He is busy with his daughter's wedding, hundreds of guests. Finally, when he has his simcha, now he has time to give speeches and to start talking to people if they keep Shabbat or not. Come on. Now it's his simcha, his mind is somewhere else. From him not talking to you and asking you if you shomer Shabbat or not, you already assume it's no problem to break Shabbat. Look how the mind of people work. If it was so important, he would tell me. So the people that drive to the synagogue on Shabbat for years, and the rabbis know, they know how far they live, and they don't tell them anything. They assume nothing is wrong with that. This is a righteous rabbi, no? He knows Torah. If he did not tell me anything, not only he doesn't tell me, he gives me aliyah for the Torah. He respects me. Come, get an aliyah. So therefore, the other rabbi, meaning me, is making up. When he say you're not allowed to give aliyah to Mechalel Shabbat, he is a liar. He's making up rules, even though it's written in Shulchan Aruch, in Rambam, in many places. Here, my rabbi is respecting me. He will remain like this until the day he dies. That's the way it is. So, after all the people of the desert died, in 40 years, Hashem said none of them will enter Israel besides Yoshua and Caleb. It's interesting how the Goyim call their children in biblical names. Joshua, Moses, Abraham, Isaac, Caleb. It's Caleb. I never knew Caleb. It's Caleb. Caleb ben Yefuneh. Abigail, all these names, David. It's all biblical names. Half of the names in the world today come from the Torah. Nimrod. Nimrod, you only have in Israeli ignorance. What person come and call his son Adolf? Nimrod was Adolf of that generation.
there is one action. Adol Giblet, they still have that name.
No, I know, that's Goyim. Do you know one Jew called his son Adolf? One thing I'm sure, even though I don't know all the Jews in the world, one thing I'm willing to swear almost, that no Jew called his son Adolf.
Yeah, but they call Ferdinand and Isabella, they have the name.
They don't know who Ferdinand is and Isabella, they don't know who these people are. Even in Israel, a lot of the Persian people call their children Herzl. They don't know who Herzl was. If they only knew, if they only read the book of Herzl, they would run all the way from here to the rabbi, 5,000 miles. Change their name now, not next Shabbat, immediately. I know in my life 7 Herzl. Recently I met the 8th one. All of them had the most miserable life you can think of. One by one, sick, problem, horrible, depression, financial issues. You call yourself, your son, after a communist, atheist, that did not even do Brit Milah to his children, and wrote in his books, he wrote a letter to the Pope, give me some time, I will turn all the Jews to Christianity. This is how you call your son, after someone like that. But a lot of Israelis call their children in names that they like it because it sounds modern, in style, but they don't know what it means. For instance, Anat is a very popular name in Hebrew, and it's a very bad name. Anat is the name of an idol worshipping. Imagine you call your son Buddha. What's your name? Buddha Leibovich. Excuse me? Buddha Leibovich. I met one time a guy, his name was Chris Cohen. I said to him, what's the pshat? You Chris or you Cohen? He said, no, I'm Jewish from both sides. I said, what kind of Jew called his son Chris? I don't know, I have to ask my parents. American Jew, I worked with him together in a banking business. He didn't even know why. First time someone even brought it to his attention. So people don't know. Do you think all Jews know what the meaning of the name Chris? Do you think they know?
Christ.
Exactly, but they don't know. Many of them don't know.
Rabbi, I want to let's say you just mentioned the Aliyah. Let's say someone wants to dress on Shabbat and the Rabbi knows it. He's not allowed to give him. What? He's going to say, you're not permitted, I'm not going to give you to read.
Yes.
Others?
Not allowed. By the Hasidim, you ever saw the Hasidim give Aliyah to Mechalel Shabbat?
I don't know about that. But
Never.
let's say in the Ben Gabriel or whatever this happens, don't they say if you say something like this in front of a lot of people, you probably...
If it creates fights, for the sake of peace, you're allowed to give him. But you have to add someone else after him. It has to be at least 7 Shomrei Shabbat. So if you have to give Aliyah to non-Shomrei Shabbat, you have to make sure to add more people. That you have on the end 7 Shomrei Shabbat. Some places they have a nice trick. The Baal Koreh that read in the Torah, whenever they give someone from a family, bar mitzvah, that is not Shomer Shabbat Aliyah, he say the bracha with him together, and the 2 people next to him say Amen. So he got the Aliyah. Sometimes he get 3 Aliyot, 4 Aliyot, one after the other. Why? What can we do? Technically, you're not even allowed to answer Amen on the blessing of Mechalel Shabbat when he go up to the Torah. You're not allowed to answer when he say Kaddish. You cannot count him in one of the 10. He's 100% like a goy. Not 99%, 100%. If you have the janitor he's a goy, he's not a Jew. Say, hey, excuse me, we have 9, come. What's your name? Idi Amin Dada. Come here. Join us to the minyan. Here, hold the Siddur and read. What's Siddur? Don't worry, just when you hear everyone say Amen, you scream Amen. Okay, he's a nice guy, this Idi. And he goes like this, everyone goes like this. He goes like this. So it counts minyan or no? Not only doesn't count, all the 9 people will get punished for all the Kaddishim, for saying Barichu, for making brachot.
What if the Jew is officially can be admitted as a notion Yisbar?
We already discussed that. If he grew up in Siberia, in Israeli kibbutz, he never heard in his life anything, then you're allowed to give him Aliyah just like a regular Shomer Shabbat. Why? Because he's not a criminal. is a result of the ignorance that raised him. He doesn't even know what Shabbat is. You know how sometimes you walk in the street, excuse me, can you come be mashlim minyan? What? We need you for minyan. What do you mean? They have no idea what you want. 90% of the Israelis, you walk in the street of Tel Aviv, excuse me, we need you in the synagogue for minyan. No. We need you to, I pray already. When my bar mitzvah? They don't even know what it means to be mashlim minyan. They don't even know how to hold the siddur. They come to the synagogue, they hold the siddur like this. One time Rav Lastri went to the jail in Israel and he gave a speech to the prisoners and then he said, let's pray together, let's pray. So one Israeli guy, he says like this, Barchenu Hashem Elokenu. B'kiץ אומר Barchenu, Baruch Ata Hashem. He reads also the instructions. He said, אתה קדוש בשמך קדוש, אם שכח חוזר לראש. מתחיל בהתחלה, ברוך אתה השם, האל הקדוש. Rav Lastri said, I was standing next to him, he reads all the instructions. He doesn't even know what's the tefillah, what's the instruction. That's how sad is our situation.
So where is this war between the Shinok Shinishba and somebody who is Mechalel Shabbat?
Enoch Shenishba, like I said,
my question, right?
he doesn't know anything. He doesn't know. He asked him, do you know who is Avraham Avinu? No. Did you hear about Noach? No. Do you know what Shulchan Aruch is? A cookbook. Someone like that is mashlim minyan.
Rabbi, so if you put somebody who is in the morning, 10 o'clock, Enoch Shenishba, officially, all chief rabbis said, for sure,
yes,
just came from Siberia.
Yeah. He can be
I put Rabbi Mizrachi in front of him, he give him 5 hours lecture, from the Dvarim, 1 month, ideas, in 5 hours, no more. You're not any longer Enoch Shenishba.
No, you need more than 5 hours. You gave me too much credit. Maybe 50 hours.
You know where I'm going to.
Yeah, I know. What do you think? We used to be Enoch Shenishba. What do you think?
You never.
Maybe not me.
Never.
אבל הללו my בעלי תשובה that they are big תלמידי חכמים. When I got them, they didn't know one thing. I had a kibbutznik. He didn't know who Noach is. You have to see his beard now, how he's sitting 20 years in yeshiva almost.
My idea is this. Today, in today's generation, before the people Enoch Shenishba, until they become somebody who is really Mechalel something, is a distance. And on this distance...
Can you swear on your life? Can you hold the Torah and swear what you say is true now?
Yes.
Yes?
Absolutely.
Let's do it.
Open.
I won't open. You open. I don't want to participate in such a thing. You'll do
In
it.
your lecture, you say, and I say amen. You remember?
Why are you saying things that you yourself know they are not true?
I believe it.
If you take a Jew that doesn't know anything from his life, and now you taught him, you explained to him the history of the Jewish people, and the Torah, and the purpose of life, and life after death, and the meaning of Shabbat, and he knows, he admits, I see that everything you say is true. From that moment on, is not Enoch Shenishba. Every little kid, until they send him to yeshiva, is Enoch Shenishba. Eventually, he won't. What do you mean? Just because he grew up like this? Or what about all the thousands of converts? Some of them are big rabbis. Leave them alone. They grew up goyim. They don't need to learn. What do you mean? You want to be a Jew, you must learn. You learn 6 months, you know everything, you come to a test, they give you a test, they see that you already keep mitzvot, you move to a Jewish community, you go to the synagogue, you pray, you learn, they convert you. What do you mean? I grew up in Siberia, I grew up in Saudi Arabia. Who cares? What do we care where you got from where you were and now you know. Once you know, even in the law, sometimes the FBI come to you, you did this and this and this in the stock market. What? How am I supposed to know? I didn't know. They see it. They're a good investigator. They see you really had no idea. Listen, we're giving you this time warning. Next time you're going to do something like this, no forgiveness. A week later, he did the same thing. Would they treat him in a second time the same? He will repeat the same nonsense. How am I supposed to know? I never learned about the stock market. I don't know the laws of the United States. That's we heard last week. After we educated you, cannot sell us this belonging. Understand? Even in Torah, when a person is Mechalel Shabbat, what's the law? You give him a warning. What you do is not permitted. If you find him doing it again, you kill him. Why? Only yesterday he found out what Shabbat is. First time someone told him you're not allowed to write on Shabbat. He didn't know, he grew up in Siberia. He moved to Israel, there's Bet HaMikdash, Sanhedrin. To Israel, he saw him, hey Vladimir, how are you? Yes, very nice. Where you came from? Russia. What are you doing? You don't know you're not allowed to write on Shabbat? What Shabbat? What's to write? What's the problem to write? You're not allowed. Shabbat, Hashem gave us this day. You're not allowed to write on Shabbat. It's death penalty. You understand? Vladimir say yes. Next Shabbat, again they call him writing. Do you think he's going to be able to say in the court, I grew up in Siberia? Grab him from the ears, directly to the execution. Why? It's Teinok Shenishba. Just a week ago he found out about Shabbat.
What if there's a memory issue, problem?
But just somebody saying to somebody that there is a law, and even if I show you Shmot 31, verse 14, in writing, you don't have to believe anybody. I can show you in just one page. People don't understand what the Torah means, what is all this. It takes time.
Right.
I'm trying to say between Moshe and Yishba until he really
Did you know, by the way, if you have 9 people in a synagogue and another one is snoring, he fell asleep on the table.
It's okay.
And now you need to say Kaddish. You need to read in the Torah. You have to say Baruch Hu et Hashem HaMevorach. 9 Shomrei Shabbat are awake. 1 guy is sleeping. Shomer Shabbat, snoring. He doesn't even hear anything. Itzik, wake up. Like this. You're allowed to say Kaddish and it counts as one of the minyan. Benjamin Netanyahu is not a stupid guy, right? He's very clever. He's educated, he speaks perfect English, better than Obama, almost. And he sits in a synagogue. You cannot say Kaddish. You need to get another Shomer Shabbat. So he's going to say to you, are you normal? This guy was snoring yesterday, you counted him. I'm here awake, I came to do mitzvah, I want to say amen, you're telling me we can't, you need another Shomer Shabbat? That's the law. And I did not write the law. In case you want to blame me. So a Shomer Shabbat asleep, count. Mechalel Shabbat awake doesn't count. Why? Because he's a criminal. Someone that rebel against Hashem, we are not interested for you to come and praise him. First become righteous, then praise Hashem. Don't do us the favor. Someone that spits at you every day, and at the same time he wants to come an hour a day and kiss you on your forehead. Would you allow him to come kiss you or no? Why? I want to kiss you between 6 and 7. Do me a favor, kiss your wife. Why? What's the problem? Why are you so radical? From 6 a.m. until 6 p.m. you kick me, you He demonstrated what I said. Say kiss, he kissed. He snore, he snore. I said, you curse me and make fun at me from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Now you want to come kiss me? After you make fun at me all day? Believe me, the law has a lot of logic. Not always ignorant people see it at first, but when they begin to learn, it makes a beautiful sense. Everything. Yes?
What about someone who's Shomer Shabbat but does not believe in the 13 principles of faith?
That's a very big problem.
Are you allowed to...
Someone doesn't believe in the 13th principle of Judaism is a very big problem. It's also a kofar. Technically, it's also a very big problem. Very big problem. Yes? If a person says, I don't believe there's one God. Kofar is an apikoris.
He believes in that, but he doesn't believe that the Mashiach will come and that the dead will resurrect.
There's machloket haposkim. I saw an answer about it. If someone said, I don't believe Mashiach would come, if you can count him as one of the minyan or no. Some say yes, some say no. Better to get someone else. Why to be in a doubt? One thing I promise you, if a goy comes to convert, a non-Jew, and he say to you in the time of conversion, I believe in the 12 principles, but besides this one, which one? I think God has a son. Everything else I believe in the Torah. But I think he has a son. Can you convert him? No. If he say, I don't believe that God punished the wicked people. I don't believe. And I also don't believe this principle that he reward the righteous. Can you convert him? No. If he say, I don't believe the Messiah would come. Can you convert him? No. I don't believe there will be a resurrection of the dead. I'm a doctor. My name is Vinny Montana. I'm a PhD from Colombia. And I don't think that someone in my level should live in illusion that one day the deceased people will rise from the grave. With all due respect to you, dear rabbis, I don't buy this fairy tale. But I love God, I know the whole Torah, I even learn Hebrew. And I want to be a proud Jew. You'll be a proud Jew by your grandmother in Italy. Go back to her. Can you convert him?
No.
Why? He knows the whole Torah, ma. Can be a rabbi, can replace me next Tuesday. And there's no lecture. Yes.
You have to work on Tisha B'Av?
What?
You want to work on Tisha B'Av?
Walk on Tisha B'Av. For a minute I thought you said on Shabbat. I said to myself, after all this speech he asked me, I'm very tired. Baruch Hashem. Tisha B'Av. Tisha B'Av, you're not allowed to walk. You have to be sitting in shul from the morning after Shachrit and cry until midday. You can't even sit on a chair. You have to sit on the floor. Unless if it's emergency, you're a doctor, a surgeon, things like this, then there's permission to walk. But a Jew wants to walk on Tisha B'Av. The Gemara say, everyone who does not participate in the mournings of the public about the destruction of Jerusalem, guarantee that he will not see the redemption and the salvation of Jerusalem. Meaning when Mashiach come and they build the third temple, he will not be there. Why? On Tisha B'Av he was selling jewelry on 47th Street. But he was Shomer Shabbat, religious Jew. But business is business, Rabbi, I have a big business. Between 8 a.m. until 2, until I get to 47th Street, 6 hours, I may lose $15,000. I want to finish this lecture by telling you an amazing story. באמת, an amazing story. We'll finish here. Here, the books are closed, you can relax. Very good. The introduction is finished. The lecture is about to be finished. There is one guy who is a very wealthy person. People that knows him in a business, in case you don't know how to define a very wealthy person, they say that he's worth easy more than $100 million. Are you convinced that he's wealthy? Okay. He sells diamonds, I don't know, rubies, sapphire, all kinds of, you know. He has a lot of money. He's many years in business. Another, they're both religious. He's religious, and the guy that sometimes sells jewelry for him is also religious. And the guy that works for him from time to time, I know him personally, I testify, as the sweetest guy. Very honest, very down to earth, fantastic midot, real pure Jew. Keep mitzvot, every day goes to learn Torah. He cries like a baby when sometimes I send him messages of people who became religious that I get. He mamash enjoy it. He's a real kosher, positive Jew. What happened is, he sold one diamond for this rich guy for $80,000. And he only gave him 52. Why? Not chas v'shalom that he planned to steal the rest of the money. His son was about to get married, and he was in such pressure, he didn't have $1 to give to the wedding, and the shidduch was about to get canceled. May we never be in that test in our life, that your son comes to you, Abba, what's going to be? My shidduch's going to get cancelled. Finally, I found the girl of my dream. What are you going to say to your son? Poor guy. He said, okay, let me use some of this money, and on the next deal, I'll pay him back. Did he have permission to do it? The answer is no. Does he know? He knows, he admits. I obviously didn't have permission to use it, but believe me, I was in such a test, I would lose my son. That was really what it is. But he knows I'm not a thief. If I was a thief, I would steal the whole 80. I wouldn't run to give him the difference. And I promised him, and I told him, if I have to, I will even sell my house to pay you back. So now, that rich guy found out that I know this guy. As usual, whether I chose, whether I didn't choose, they get me into it. Calls me up, Mizrachi, yes, you have to help me out. Yeah, what happened? This guy took a stone from me, didn't pay me, what's going on here? You don't do such things. I said to him, I heard, you are 100% right. But now it's already a fact. There's no way to turn the wheel back. And he doesn't have the money to pay you now. But he will definitely pay you. Promise me that the first thing in his mind, the first money he has, he's going to pay you back. Now I know he's worth fortune, this guy. It's not that he's not going to have what to eat. It's peanuts compared to the annual income that he has. It's peanuts. But I have to treat him with respect. Listen, it's his money. So I said to him, I promise he's going to give you back the money. He spoke to me, he told me. That's the first thing on his mind. But how did he do such thing? He was supposed to pay me in a week. I said to him, if you had a son to marry, and you would have no penny to give, and the parents of the bride put their money in, and you don't have $1, and your son is about to lose his shidduch, and everything will break, and he's going to fall into depression, and he's going to leave the yeshiva, would you pass such a test or no? So he got silent. He realized it was a very difficult test. So I said to him, give him a month or two, he'll pay you back, don't worry. He left me alone for a week or two, then he called again, then he left me alone, then he called again, then, okay, on and off. Then he started to put massive pressure on him. Now the Torah says, if someone owes you money and you know he doesn't have, you're not allowed to embarrass him, to call him. Even when you see him walking, you have to go to the other side of the street. You're not allowed to knock on his door, what's with my money, you're not allowed to call him. If you know for sure he has the money and he plays games with you, it's a different story. You can even take him to bedding. But if you know the person doesn't have, he's not going on vacation now to Florida or to Israel, right? You're not allowed to do it. It's against the Torah. So, this week, I see that the rich man started to harass me again. 15 times a day he calls me. How did I get myself into it? I said, don't even have an answer for him. What do you expect? That by calling me, I'm going to give him a different answer? Then he went to my brother. He said, why your brother doesn't call me back? Call him now. I said to my brother, what does he expect me to tell him? I know he's calling me. He said, no, he wants to consult with you about a matter. I said, this guy never consulted with me ever about anything. Now he wants to consult with me. I'm sure it's about this guy. Let me find out. I called up the guy. I said to him, is it possible that he's calling me 15 times a day for a different matter? It's not because of the money you owe him? He said, yes, it's very possible. Do you know what happened to him this week? I said, what happened to him? Listen to this. Rabotai, what I'm telling you now, if this is not going to show you how Hashem operates, nothing will. Look what just happened here. He said to me, one guy came to him looking for a specific diamond, color. He said to him, I have what you're looking for. How much? He said to him, because it wasn't a usual diamond, it was a unique one. So not everybody understands about colors or about a different stone. He told him 1,600. But he meant 1,600 for a carat, not 1,600 for the whole stone. And the stone was 18 carats. 18 times 1,600. $28,800. That's the value of the stone. He gave it to the salesman. The salesman thought he bought it for 1,600. He sold it to one guy for 5,000, Korean. He think, I bought it for 16, I sold it for 5. Let me go, pay him now the 16. He comes to this rich man, here is your 1,600. What is this? You gotta give me 28,800. What? You told me 1,600. 1,600 a carat, you fool. How am I supposed to know? Misunderstanding. I sold it for $5,000. To where? Korean guy. Where is he? Went to Korea. Of course. I said to the guy, before we did the math, how much you owe him? You say, $28,750. That's what I owe him. That's the balance. After I paid him the 52 almost, that's what I owe him. I said, let's do the math. 1,600 times 18. 28,800. So you see what Hashem did to him? He saw that someone like him that's supposed to have confidence in Hashem, he knows so much Torah, constantly calling the poor guy and harassing him. When he promised him, he swore to him, I'm going to pay you even if I have to sell my house. Just give me another month or two. Hashem said, oh, that's the way you're going to operate when it comes to money. No more Torah, no more rules, no more nothing. I'll double your damage, measure for measure. And then, when I said it to the guy, he started to cry. I have him crying on my WhatsApp. He was answering me while he was crying. He said, I'm shaking now. Look how Hashem operates. If it would be 4, 5, 7, or even 50,000 damage. Okay. Same amount. $50 different. Unbelievable. What do you think? Everything we do has consequences. Everything. Now one thing gets away without a punishment. Don't ever believe someone that tells you there's no punishment. Everything has punishments. Everything. One word Lashon Hara, punishment went to your account. The only thing can cancel the punishment is repentance, tshuva. Nothing else. Tshuva, charity, tzedakah. Then Hashem takes back the punishment. Erase it from the file. If you don't regret the sin, you stop the sin. I'm not doing that anymore. God forbid, I'm religious now. I'm Baal Tshuva. I'm ashamed. I'm making confessions 3 times a day when I pray. Before I go to sleep, Shachrit and Mincha, 3 times a day. And Yom Kippur passed 10 times already. I suffer tremendously for this sin. But I never officially regret the sin. You know what's the difference between ashamed and never did it again to regret? Regret means if I had a way to turn the wheel back to the day I made that sin and pay any amount of money that it will not happen, with no hesitation I would do. I'm so broken for doing such thing. That's besides the shame. Sometimes a person is ashamed from someone, but in his heart he doesn't think I did anything wrong. But people think what I did is wrong, so I'm ashamed. But if you ask me, nothing is wrong with what I did. That's not a real shame. That's just because people speak against him. I'll give you an example what I'm talking about. Sometimes a person was secular and he had a non-Jewish girlfriend. Then the rabbi told him, she's a nice girl, maybe she's a righteous Gentile. You're not allowed to marry her. We didn't make the rules. God told us the Jewish people cannot marry any nation. Even the good, the bad, it's not relevant. You can't marry her.
Even though she can convert.
If she converts for the truth, you can marry her. But most of the time they convert for the man. If he's Muslim, they'll become Muslim. They don't do it for Shabbat, for the truth of God, and for Judaism. There's rules in conversion. If it's real kosher conversion, he can marry her. Unless if he's a Kohen. Kohen cannot marry a convert. So, they say to this guy, with all due respect to this Christine, we feel very bad, but we didn't write the rules. What can we do? If it was up to me, why do I care that she marry you? It's my business. But I have to teach you what the Torah says. The Torah says a clear verse. Even the Gentiles that read the Torah, they can tell you the same. They're not allowed to marry me. I had a case like this. I had a guy from Florida, Cohen, married to a Sicilian convert. Sicilian Goya, I'm sorry, she's not a convert. And they had a kid already. One kid. One day he calls me up, Rabbi Mizrachi in Hebrew, הרסת לי את החיים. You destroyed my life. Why? I just watched your debate with a Christian priest with my wife. She got the shock of her life. She's not Jewish, she's from Sicilia, Italian. She told me, I'm sorry, you cannot touch me ever again. I cannot live with you anymore. I can't live with you. You're a Jew and I'm a non-Jew, and God said I'm not allowed to be married to you. I love you very much. I'm willing even to give you the child if I don't want you to think that I have anything against you, but I'm not going to go against God. And he's trying to convince her, come on, don't be fanatic. You know? So now they call me together. And I say, well, listen, in cases like this, and especially when you have a child together, you have to send her for conversion, and the kid also has to convert because he's not Jewish. What's your name? Mr. X Cohen. Shem Yerachem. Cohen cannot marry a convert.
Maybe he's not Cohen. Maybe his last name.
Hey. Why you don't have patience? Why you don't have patience? Uno momento, por favor. So now what happened? I said to the guy, listen, why don't you come to Monsi to the yeshiva for a week or two? Gonna save me. No, my boss gonna fire me. Don't worry, the boss up there is good enough to find you income. No, come. No, I can't. I wish I can. No. In the meantime, this Goya, she's starting now to become Jewish. She saw the truth. So she wants to convert. But she cannot marry him. It's not going to help her. She went to Jerusalem to the Bet Din Agadol. The massive Bet Din, the Jewish court. The biggest one. You saw the Empire State Building or not yet?
My phone.
I was there for. He's selling the Twin Towers after the collapse. So, I'm already making jokes. I hope you don't care. So anyway, she went to the Bet Din Agadol to convert her. They find out she's married to a Kohen. It's for the second building. The first or the second. So now, she went to the Bet Din Agadol in Jerusalem. They say, give us all your name, your mother's name, your town. Let us conduct an investigation. They started to do a mutual investigation. After a few weeks, she calls me up, all shaking. You're not gonna believe. My grandmother was Jewish. By the way, she doesn't need to convert. She became Ba'alat Shuvah. This Bachur became a rabbi. They had another kid, by now maybe a few more. When I went there to Florida, I even met them in person. Happy end. There was a similar case like this, and a guy came to Rav Eliashiv Zatzal. Rabbi, maybe you give us permission to marry to the Goya. She will convert. I'm a Kohen. I want to marry her. I love her. Rav Eliashiv said, if it was up to me, I would give you 2 permissions. But God wrote that I cannot do. What can I do? You see, it's written in the Torah. I cannot deny it. But I pray for you that Hashem will take away the pain from your heart. It's also something. Right now you suffer, you're in love. What happened after a few days? This guy is in Israel. He got a call from his father here in New York. His father is a rich guy. And he's calling him, son, I'm dying. I have 3 days maximum to live. Come quickly, I want to see you for the last time. He takes a plane. He comes to New York. He goes to York Avenue to the hospital here. His father said to him, I need you to forgive me about one thing I never told you. He said to him, what? So I never had the guts to tell you. But I never had the guts. But now before I die, I cannot take these secrets to the grave. What? I'm dead. Don't get me scared. What? You're not my biological son. I adopted you as a baby. The guy, usually when something like this happens, the guy falls on the bed. What? And now you only want to tell me this? This guy, you sure? Yes! Yes! What's the hospital
he was a Kohen.
He was the Kohen, his father, but he wasn't a Kohen. Sometimes the stories have happy ends. Most of the time doesn't end good.
What if a person is a Kohen and he's struggling to find his significant other? Is this better to be alone or he still can find someone?
Kohen cannot marry a divorced woman. Cannot marry a woman that was with a goy even one time in her life. One time.
So it's better for him to be single all his life.
No. It's better for him to cry and to pray very hard to find a girl. He doesn't need a virgin, but he needs a girl that was never with a Kohen, and she's not a divorce. You understand? If it was a Kohen Gadol, then he needs a virgin, meaning she cannot be a widow. But regular Kohen, it's always recommended a girl that is pure and never made any sins, of course. But if he couldn't, and he found Baalat Tshuva, he can marry her, as long as she was not ever with a goy. She had intimacy with a goy.
How do we know?
We have to ask the girl and explain to her that it's very bad for their marriage. If they marry with the children will not be Kohanim, they'll be Halalim. Do you know how many Kohanim in the Jewish communities are not really Kohanim? They go up to do Yevarechecha Hashem v'Yishmerecha and they're all Halalim. Either their wife was divorced or she was with a goy, she didn't tell. Officially they are Halalim.
How about convert?
If he married a convert, also is not allowed. Everyone, the Kohen is not allowed to marry. If he married and have children, the children are not Kohanim. That's, by the way, besides that someone that knows statistics told me that 85% of the last name Cohen in America are not even Jewish. Meaning almost all the American Jews that their last name is Cohen, they marry non-Jewish women. They don't care about Torah. They meet in college or whatever, and they meet now, and they have 2, 3, 4 kids, and their last name is Cohen, but they are not Jewish. They're all goyim. You understand what we're talking here about? Tens of thousands of people.
There's already cut influences that you don't know who's,
If let's say they become Halalim and it would embarrass their mom if they find out that they're Halalim.
Right.
So
What can you do? Many of the sins embarrass us later on. If a person went with a married woman and brought a mamzer to the world, and now he comes, Abba. Once he became religious and have a new family, and one day he showed up with the earring over here and a ponytail and tattoos all over. Remember me? And everybody sees. It's embarrassing. What can you do? If you can prevent the embarrassment, it's always an obligation not to embarrass people. For instance, I give you an example. If a woman is getting married to a man, and they have a baby, and the baby was born in a natural delivery, not cesarean. When they have to do redemption of the baby from the Kohen, they have to buy 5 coins of silver and give it to the Kohen as a gift. And the Kohen released that kid from his position. So the Kohen asked her, were you ever pregnant before? Did you have an abortion or miscarriage? Or you have a child somewhere from first marriage or anything like that, meaning you already had a baby in your womb or no? If yes, then this boy doesn't need redemption. You cannot make brachot. You're not allowed to say the name of Hashem in vain. It's not the firstborn that came out of her womb. The Torah said the first one that comes out of the woman's womb belongs to the Kohen. And the Kohen redeemed him by receiving these 5 coins of silver. Now, what is she going to do? She's going to say now next to her husband that she made an abortion when she was 18? Or miscarriage or something like this. The whole synagogue is there. So they ask a question, is she allowed to lie? The answer, yes. To save herself from the embarrassment. Now the Kohen is going to say brachot levatala. It's in the 10 Commandments. It says in the 3rd commandment, you're not allowed to say the name of Hashem unless you are permitted by law. Not allowed to say the name of God. The Kohen is going to make bracha now in the name of Hashem. And technically it's not, he cannot say the bracha. It's the mitzvah, it's obsolete here. Not to spill the blood of this woman in public, it's allowed. But In the future, they have to check before. The Kohen, before he comes to the ceremony, he has to call the woman and say to her, listen, before we're going to do it, I need to investigate you a little bit. Did you ever had a miscarriage before? Did you ever have an abortion? Because if yes, it's going to be a very big disaster. And sometimes she will confess. And after she confesses, the Kohen can pretend he makes the brachot. He doesn't have to say the name of Hashem. Instead of Ado, he can say Amunai. Nobody pays attention, quick. And like this, nobody gets the embarrassment. Or he can say to her, he will say to your husband that you had well, it's a problem. If they married for a few years, then she can say that right in the beginning of the marriage, she became pregnant, she didn't know, and maybe she lost the baby, maybe. It was in the first month. She wasn't sure, and now the rabbi told me that could be that it was a miscarriage. So he won't be offended. She didn't cheat on him, or she didn't hide her history from him. There's ways around. But we have to stick to the rules. There are many, many problems. What do you think? Do you know how many questions, millions of questions about relationship, forbidden, allowed, this? Sometimes they find out that it's not a real Kohen. Sometimes the woman that is married, she's divorced, and now they want to legalize this marriage, that he doesn't have to get divorced. So they go and investigate her first marriage, who were the two witnesses that signed on the Ketubah. If one of them was not Shomer Shabbat, it means that the marriage that she had with her ex-husband was not a legal marriage. Because Mechalel Shabbat is 100% a goy, and if a goy signed as a witness in your wedding, you're not married. So that's avoid the first marriage, and makes her now and not a divorced woman, and make the Kohen able to stay married to her. And make the kids that they have kosher Kohanim. It's a chain reaction. If one of the witnesses or both of them were Mechalelei Shabbat. Jewish Mechalel Shabbat is 100% goy. That's the law.
And the marriage is not valid.
Not valid. You have children out of the marriage. They're not mamzerim, but it's like a boyfriend and girlfriend that had a baby.
We have so many people who, it means that they're not...
I have news for you. Some rabbis on purpose, they take a witness that is Mechalel Shabbat. Did you know that? It's a big secret. Why? Because they know they cheat on each other, these chilonim, many of them. Instead of the kids will become mamzerim, better they will be married. Better they will have children out of the marriage, that they will be married and cheat on each other and bring mamzerim to the world. If it's allowed to do, I didn't say it's allowed. I'm just saying that I know, I heard already from few different sources that some people do it.
Is it better to do it?
I don't think it's better to do it.
I have a question.
I don't know, it's very problematic question. Yeah.
In Russia, in Soviet Union, in the 80s, 70s, all the marriages are illegal, basically. So all the product, the kids are all, such as myself and other kids in the...
You're right. It's not only in Russia. In many countries, they brought witnesses that were not Shomer Shabbat.
No, I'm saying for people that witnesses.
No, but the kids are legal.
The kids are legal.
The kids are not mamzerim. Only woman that was married and cheated, that's a mamzer.
So it doesn't affect the
If two guy and a girl are not officially married, or the marriage went wrong, or they didn't do it technically correctly, and later they have kids, the kids are perfectly kosher kids. It's like kids out of the marriage. But they are not mamzerim. They have no limitations, the kid. You understand? Even if the father is a Kohen, the kid is still a Kohen.
And if the father's a Levi, the kid is still a Levi.
100%.
Aren't there still two kosher Jews over there, witnesses? Aren't there still two kosher Jews
Where?
at the wedding?
Some weddings yes, some weddings not.
And even one of them is Mahal Shabbos.
Sometimes there's answers that the rabbi writes in his answer. Although the two witnesses that testified in the Ketubah were not there, maybe other people around, we have to check. There are other people that were standing around that at least besides the rabbi. Let's say the rabbi is Shomer Shabbat. If one more guy over there is Shomer Shabbat, here you go, you have two witnesses. You understand? It's another person who witnessed the case. That means she does need a get. Today, when it comes to situations like this, we still force the husband to give her a divorce, get, because we don't want to take any risk. God forbid she go get remarried, the children will be mamzerim. Not a joke. Any more questions before we finish?
Yeah, I just want to ask a question.
Yes.
Why, when a woman wants a get and he doesn't want to give it to her, he will keep her for years and years? I heard a lot of those stories.
She asked a very sad and very correct question. Many husbands are very, very cruel people, and because of ego and arrogance and revenge, they refuse to give get to their wives when they get divorced. They divorce civil, she takes him to court, and the judge in New York order a divorce. But they say, you'll never get a get from me. You will never get remarried. Meaning, let's say she's 25 now.
You can't change it?
Listen, let's say she's 25. They were married for 2-3 years. They get divorced now. And he said, I'm not giving you the get. I don't care. In Israel, it's not so simple. Why? Because the government and the Beit Din working as one unit. The Beit Din sends him an invitation, you must give her a get. I don't give her a get. Right away, warrant for his arrest. He goes to jail. They take away his driver's license. He cannot leave Israel. They take away his passport. They make an order that he cannot leave Israel. If he comes to the airport, sir, he cannot leave. His brother's getting married, he has business. They take actions against him. By now, most of these actions immediately force the people to surrender and to give the get. Here we live in exile. Obama and his friends don't exactly care about Miriam and Rachel that are stuck without marriage. It's not their priority, right? So it's very difficult because over here he can hide, can go to Hawaii and hide, and you don't find him, and she's stuck for the rest of her life. But let me tell you something else. I'm glad you asked this question. In Israel, the secular people, they constantly criticize the religion because of this issue. In the internet, they write, what kind of religion is that? Enough with these primitive laws. A woman will be stuck now all her life without getting remarried just because this evil husband doesn't want to give her a get? Now I want to ask you a question. Do you think they're right, or they are the biggest and the dumbest hypocrite? What do you think? Those people who criticize the religion. The answer, they are the biggest hypocrite, and I'll tell you why. The Torah says, if the man refuses to give a get to the woman, makim oto ad shetetze nishmato. You hit him with a whip until he dies. Psh, give her a get. No. Pa, pa, pa. He won't be able to take it. The Israeli democratic state with human rights, protecting the criminals, so if the rabbis in the Beit Din will take him in and send police to bring him in, to give him some shots on his back, to release her, that she can get remarried, then we'll put the rabbis in prison. In case you don't know, here in America, in Muncie, there were a few rabbis who used to do it, and they got over 10 years in prison. One of them was a big Rosh Yeshiva, an important yeshiva from Muncie. They sent him to prison, and his partner, and another one. Although that's not a good example what I just gave of these people, because according to the allegation, the reason that they got such a big punishment is because they used to charge money from the women to go and get her the get. A lot of money, tens of thousands of dollars. So it's like an Italian mafia. You want to get divorced? We are the Beit Din. According to the law, we're supposed to get you the get for free, not for $100,000. But we have a big Georgian guy, 7 feet tall with muscles. He knows how to give some punches. Well, we'll get you the get, don't worry. That's already become a criminal organization. If the allegation is correct, then you understand why the government of the United States punished them. But according to the Torah said that the Beit Din has the power to give her the get by taking actions against him. actions that he won't be able to resist until he gets to a death, till he's going to die. And when he dies, she's released. One way or the other, she's going to get released. They can keep, so today, the maximum they can do is to keep him in jail to rotten. That's it. One guy in America refused, Hasid, refused to give his wife a get. They put him in jail. In America, they put him in jail for something that he knew. They told the police about him, he went to jail. They kept coming to him in jail to give her a get. Young, nice girl, she can start her life. I won't give her a get. She only will be able to get married when I die. A week later, he died in jail. Nobody knows how. He was a young guy, he wasn't even 30 years old. He said those words. He said those words, she will only get remarried when I die. A week later he died, he wasn't even 30 years old. Sometimes Hashem does justice in this way. And sometimes a woman is stuck for 30 years and there's nothing we can do about it. He's hiding, you don't know where he is. He's in the Philippines, go and find him. Nobody knows where he is, what are we going to do? That's the Torah, what can we do? What can we do? That's the punishment Hashem wanted to give to this woman. Maybe for previous life, maybe who knows what. By the way, before you get married, check hundreds of times who you're getting married to. Check mental disease, check criminal record, check tax, check credit report. From the credit report of a person you can see if he's a crook or not. If everything is late, doesn't pay the lease, doesn't live like a king, driving a fancy car, doesn't pay the whole world. What does it tell about the guy?
You are naive, Rabbi. This highway, they fix your credit report easy.
I didn't say that ever. You know, something happened to your head recently. I didn't say that someone that has a clean credit record, that means he's righteous. But if he has a bad credit report, it's wicked. So if it's clean, you still have to check.
Actually, you're right, because if he has a bad credit report, but he fixed it, at least he has money and brain to fix it. Not bad.
So that's a progress. That is a sophisticated crook. So you should take him because he's a crook who knows how to hide his crimes. But the Torah says, מכסה פשעיו לא יצליח, ומודה ועוזב ירוחם. Someone that try to cover his crimes will never succeed. But someone who confess and make tshuva will have mercy.
At least he knows the difference between the right and the wrong. So he knows that the good history.
Bottom line, Rabotai, before we start another lecture, everybody has to check hundreds of times. Investigation, don't check only with the references on the resume. Check with the neighbors, call teachers, colleagues at work. Believe me, you'll be surprised what you can find out. And don't rush to get engaged. Today, right away, 2-3 dates, right away engagement.
What's the big deal to get engaged?
You have to check. By Ashkenazim, it's a very big deal. Some Ashkenazim, if they get engaged and later they want to cancel it, they get married and get divorced a few days later. They don't believe in breaking engagement. It's like a neder.
Why?
Ask the Ashkenazim. What are you asking me?
If you like to make it,
ask him.
Because they make no in.
Make naim, it's like a neder, condition, a contract.
You already said you're going to get married.
Thank you very much. Baruch Adonai leolam, amen ve'amen.